Kid, you've lost. Dong Tiankui revealed a proud smile. Kid, you've lost. Dong Tiankui revealed a proud smile. Zhongqi also laughed complacently. Ha ha, you've lost. Everyone around them began to laugh. I really thought I could complete the third mission. He's just a posturing criminal. You sure are good at bragging. Kid, let's see how you can still act so arrogantly. Many people laughed at Long Fei, thinking that he did not complete the third mission at all. Yuanxi's gaze tensed up. How can this be? Long Fei asked. What do you mean you're not the target of a mission? He was a little confused. However, Long Fei was not anxious at all, because he knew very well that he had passed the test. Could it be that energy source stone? 9 dragons divine technique? The same one. Holy Godhead? 5 elemental rare source stone. These items were all dropped from the body of a 3rd stage divine 9 dragon king. If the 9 dragon king helmet was not task goal, then it must be something else. Zhongqi disdainfully said, Do you not understand, or are you pretending to be stupid? That is to say, the thing you took out is not your task goal, and you did not complete the mission, understand? Acting dumb with lousy? Kneel down and call me grandfather. Zhongqi was elated. His face was full of pride. Just now you slapped me twice. If I don't take back this slap, I won't be surnamed Zhong. He said this in his heart. Dong Tiankui laughed complacently. What else do you have to say? Long Fei did not pay any attention to the two of them, and instead looked at the mission disciple outside the window and asked, May I ask, what is task goal? Ha ha! Zhongqi immediately laughed out loud. Brat, you really know how to act. Do you think the task goal for the mission of God can be set out? Do you understand? Indeed, the task goal for this kind of mission could not be announced publicly. Otherwise, if someone was faking it, it wouldn't be easy. The disciple at the mission window said, Senior brother Zhongqi is right. I can't say it out loud. Long Fei's expression tightened and said, I really did complete the 3rd stage of the mission, gods. Are you really done? Ha ha. And I said I'd done it. Where's the evidence? What about task goal? Take it out. Take it out and have a look. Zhongqi laughed crazily. He wanted to dance on top of Long Fei's head. How could he let go of such an opportunity to suppress Long Fei? Right now, his face was still in pain. If he did not take revenge, then he would no longer be Zhongqi. Dong Tiankui said, Long Fei, admit your loss. Yuanxi took a step forward and said, He didn't lose. I can testify that he really did kill the god of heaven. I saw it with my own eyes. Dong Tiankui glanced at Yuanxi and said, You're going to testify? Who else can testify other than you? Yuanxi frowned and said, There are only the 2 of us within the heavenly god secret world S. Dong Tiankui said, Then what's the use of you testifying? Furthermore, so what if he killed an Empyrean god? If you're unable to take it out, it will mean that you did not complete the mission. Long Fei, a loss is a loss. Don't refuse to admit it. Not admitting to it will only make more people look down on you. Dong Tiankui was extremely pleased with himself. What he wanted to do now was to bring Long Fei to the Horcrux's Gate Hill, then obtain the highest grade Fire Soul, and make Long Fei suffer 10 times more than he did. Yuanxi still wanted to argue on behalf of Long Fei, but Long Fei took a step forward and asked, Is this thing task goal? Long Fei immediately took out the 3rd grade deity spark. However, he did not say what it was. A 3rd grade Empyrean god spark. If this thing were to be known by others, he would probably never be at peace in the world of Mortal World again. If Dong Tiankui found out, and if the 2 King Swordsman Powerhouse beside him found out, and so many other Outer Door Presbyter found out, then these people would swarm over like tiger shark that had smelled the blood. Was passing the god's mission to enter the divine space a shortcut? Moreover, even if you manage to enter the divine space, you might not even be able to break through. This heavenly god grab will allow you to become a god's powerhouse in the shortest time possible. Who could let them go? Dong Tiankui was afraid that he would pounce on her without caring about his life. Thus, Long Fei did not say, I can't say. He pretended he didn't know anything. The god of heaven's spark looked like a Sarira's, and there was nothing special about it. Zhongqi disdained. What is a broken stone? Dong Tiankue also sneered and said, "Give up." Clearly, they did not recognize the Empyrean God spark. How many people into the world of mortal world had seen Holy Godhead? Even peak owner of Horcrux's Gate, Hill, had never seen someone of this level before, not to mention anyone else. However, when Long Fei took out the divine clone, Yunxi's pupils constricted and his heart trembled. God of heaven, what? He was afraid that the Nine-Dragon King would kill him. So when did he take his divine spark? Yunxi was someone who came down from the divine space, so she immediately recognized the divine spark. Other than her, there was another person who recognized her. Phoenix. However, her eyes only glanced at it for a moment, but there was no shock. It was as if it was nothing out of the ordinary. This kind of thing could not enter her eyes at all. Other than the two of them, there was another person not too far away. His eyes instantly turned deep as he stared at Long Fei without moving. The mission disciple took over the stone that Long Fei gave him and flipped through it a few times, then retreated and said, "That's not it either." His eyes did not linger. Long Fei had been paying attention to his eyes this whole time, because he needed to be prepared to snatch it back at any time. However, from his eyes, Long Fei saw another meaning. I didn't pay close attention. He doesn't even have a chance to compare. The difference is huge. Or, this mission did not have a target at all. He locked onto the space between his eyebrows. Zhongqi sneered and said, "Brat, obediently admit defeat and kneel down and kowtow to this father and call me grandfather. It's better not to struggle fearlessly." Luo Feng and the group of people immediately clamored. "Kneel down, admit defeat, call me grandpa. Kid, I admit defeat. Kneel, kowtow. You want to complete the God's mission with this kind of status? Dream on. You only have 200 task credit, and you still want to participate in the intersect examination? Keep dreaming." "Ha ha." Zhongqi crossed his arms, his face full of satisfaction. Dong Tiankue said, "Long Fei, stop struggling so fearlessly. I told you, you wouldn't win." Long Fei's pupils became tight, and he suddenly said, "This mission does not have any so-called task goal." As soon as he finished, his eyes looked at the mission disciple. His eyes stared blankly for a moment before they tensed up slightly. His expression became a little tense. Immediately, Long Fei immediately understood that his guess was right, and his heart skipped a beat. Without task goal, this mission wouldn't be completed, then task credit would. It's important to win or lose. It's important to win or lose. But what was more important was the matter of the brothers participating in the intersect examination. If there was no standard for completing the third stage of the mission, it would also mean that Long Fei did not complete the mission, which meant he had no task reward. If one did not have the task reward for the third stage, then all the people beside Long Fei would not be able to participate. This was a most fatal thing to Long Fei. Fuck his mother. Long Fei cursed in his heart. Who the hell gave such a mission? Is there something wrong with his head? Extremely displeased, Dong Tianke was also frightened by Long Fei's brain and said, "Since you've guessed it, then I'll just say it directly. There's no reward in this third stage of the mission. At the same time, this mission doesn't have any completion criteria. In other words, even if you kill Empyrean God, it would be useless. Kid, just obediently admit defeat." Dong Tiankue was determined to eat Long Fei. Long Fei secretly tightened between his brows and secretly clenched his fists. Zhongqi walked in front of Dong Tiankue and said, "Elder, before you accept him, can you let him fulfill my bet first?" Dong Tiankue laughed. "No problem." Zhongqi's heart relaxed. His face revealed an excited smile, and he stared straight at Long Fei. "Brat, kneel down and kowtow, and call me grandpa." "Ha ha ha." Zhongqi rose to his feet. He was initially worried that Dong Tiankue would manage Long Fei, but now it seemed to be different from what he had expected. Phoenix stepped forward and said angrily, "Do you want to die?" Bailey Tianhai and Zhao Dahan also rushed to Long Fei's side, ready to fight at any time. Brothers of 5 elements also stood apart, forming a 5-elemental formation. Zhongqi pretended to be very afraid and said, "Oh, there's so many people here. I'm really scared. Kid, you can't afford to lose more than others." Immediately, Huliehua, who was beside him, whistled in the air. In an instant, over 100 disciples ran out from the surroundings, surrounding Long Fei and the others tightly. Zhongqi had a look of despise on his face as he said, "You're still too inexperienced to compare yourself with this father. Kid, today you will either obediently kneel in front of me and kowtow and call me grandpa, or I will step on you and kowtow and call you grandpa. Choose for yourself." Very arrogant, very powerful, Dong Tiankuei stood at the side and watched the show. He also wanted to see how Long Fei was going to suffer, but he didn't have any intentions of paying attention to it. Long Fei's face was extremely ugly, and his heart was filled with displeasure. It was not because of Zhongqi, but was because of the mission's publisher. In regards to Zhongqi, he really did not put him in his eyes. Facing Zhongqi's arrogance, Long Fei lightly said, "This mission wasn't completed by the standard, but I did." Zhongqi contemptuously said, "You're still being stubborn? Since you've completed it, then hand over your completed goal. Can you even take it out? If you can't take it out, that means you didn't finish the mission. If you dare not admit it today, I will beat you until you admit it." Zhongqi's gaze tensed up, revealing a fierce look. Dong Tiankuei also let out a faint sound and said, "Long Fei, I think it's better if you admit defeat. With so many people watching, if you don't admit defeat, you probably won't be fighting against one or two outer court disciples, but rather the entire outer sect." His words caused all the surrounding outer sect disciples to be stunned. They all stepped forward at the same time and shouted, "You have to admit your defeat. Kneel! Kneel! Kneel!" The sound echoed out through the temple hall. Dong Tiankuei looked at Long Fei with a complacent sneer. Long Fei cursed all 18 generations of his ancestors. Looking at the surrounding outer sect disciples, his gaze grew cold and he said, "I didn't lose to the first place. Number 2, I, Long Fei, do not kneel, do not bow to the heavens and want me to kneel for you? Hee, you really don't have the qualifications." Zhongqi smiled slightly and said, "So you're saying you're not admitting defeat?" Long Fei said, "I have not lost. Why should I admit it?" Zhongqi said, "Brat, you refuse to toast and refuse to forfeit? Brothers, what should we do with people who break their promise? Kill him, cripple him. If he doesn't admit defeat, then we'll beat him until he admits defeat. Brat, people like you have no right to stay in the ancient antiquity. Immediately kick him out of ancient antiquity. First cripple him, then chase him out." Long Fei suddenly became the target of public criticism. Zhongqi laughed proudly. "Fight with me? Have you ever fought against me? I advise you to kneel down obediently in front of me right now. Otherwise, you won't be able to leave this place today." Zhao Dahan was furious and said, "If you have the guts, then come. Today, let's see who will cripple who." Boom! With a shake of his arm, a powerful aura burst forth. His arms formed a deep frost profound stone beneath his robe, and the hardness of his body surpassed that of steel. He said in a low voice, "Big brother, I'll cover your backs. You guys go first." He was facing the entire outer sect. There are not only outer sect disciples, there are also outer door presbyters. Moreover, there are 2 king's swordsman rank S here. How could he possibly block it? Bailey Tianhai swept his gaze across the crowd and said faintly, "There are about 1,300 people in the Great Hall. About 300 of them will actually make a move. As long as we can knock Zhongqi down to the ground, these disciples would not dare to move. I am worried about the 2 powerhouses at the King's Swordsman realm right now. They're the ones who have the most trouble. There was no way to deal with it." Phoenix placed her hands on her hips and said, "I'll deal with the 2 of them." She looked at the Phoenix and inwardly shivered. Long Fei said, "Little girl, stop messing around." Phoenix immediately pouted. "Oh." Long Fei swept his gaze across the entire audience and frowned slightly. Zhongqi said complacently, "Brat, are you going to kneel?" Long Fei raised his eyes and said, "Kneel your head. If you have the guts, come." He did not want to take this step, but he had no other choice now. He wanted to bring Bailey T on high and climb up from ancient antiquity to enter the divine space. However, now it seemed that he wouldn't be able to do as he had planned, making him kneel, unless he was dead. Otherwise, he wouldn't kneel to anyone. A battle? Then let's fight. Long Fei's character was so. If not, then he will be tough. Zhongqi laughed sinisterly. You asked for this yourself. Brothers, attack. An elder beside Dong Tiankuei said, Clan Master, do we have to stop him? Dong Tiankuei sneered and said, No need. Let him kneel on the ground first. I also do not intend to let him live. Save Long Fei. Impossible. If Long Fei didn't have the highest grade fire soul he wanted, he would have made his move on Long Fei a long time ago. Right now, he only wanted Long Fei to live. The battle was about to begin. Zhongqi forced his way in with hundreds of outer court disciples. Long Fei clenched his fists and said, Fight. The aura on his body suddenly changed. However, just as the battle was about to erupt, a voice suddenly came from the mission window. I made a mistake. Mission completed. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. I was wrong. The mission disciple said loudly. The entire task palace suddenly quieted down. Everyone was stunned by this sudden turn of events. They all looked at the task window. The disciple stood up and said, I was wrong just now. The third trial of the mission of God has been completed. His voice trembled slightly, because there was someone standing behind him. Zhongqi turned around and immediately rushed to the window, fiercely saying, What did you say? Explain to me. You said that he had completed the uncompleted mission? What are you trying to do? Huh? He had an aggressive look on his face. In the outer sect, he had never been afraid of anyone. That disciple said, Senior Brother Zhong, I was wrong just now. Senior Brother Long really completed the mission and obtained task reward. Zhongqi said, Are you joking? Do you think I'm stupid? Dong Tiankuei's eyes also narrowed slightly. Zhao Dehan became excited and said, Ha! Did you hear that, boss? You've completed the mission and there's even a reward. We won. Zhongqi, you can go eat sh*t for me. Zhao Dehan released it with all his might. Zhongqi glared furiously with both eyes and said, There is simply no standard for completing this mission. You cannot complete it, and you will not win. He absolutely did not believe it. Zhongqi reached his right hand into the window and grabbed the disciple's sleeve. Lifting him up in one go, he said, What benefits did he give you? I'll give you twice the price. Tell me the truth, or I will make it so that you won't be able to stay in the outer court any longer. In the past, any outer sect disciple would have been afraid. They knew Zhongqi's methods very well. However, he was not afraid at all right now, and said, Senior Brother Zhong, what I said just now was the truth. Senior Brother Long has really completed the mission. I was mistaken. Senior Brother, I'm really sorry. Please come over here to receive your reward for the third stage. Zhongqi's pupils constricted as he said, Impossible. This is impossible. He looked at Dong Tiankuei. Dong Tiankuei also frowned, but he did not fly into a rage like Zhongqi. Instead, he calmly stared at the mission disciple. Long Fei had a puzzled expression as well. He was very puzzled about this sudden turn of events. It was impossible for that disciple to be mistaken. The only possibility was that someone had changed the quest. Zhongqi let out a fierce cry and said, Reward? What reward? The mission disciple lowered his head to look at the scroll and said, The third trial's task reward is 10,000 points. As soon as he finished, the entire hall was in an uproar. What? 10,000 points of task credit? Am I hearing things? Is he crazy? 10,000 points? How is this possible? Are you sure you didn't see wrongly? 10,000 points this. Becoming the highest score disciple in the outer sect all of a sudden. Oh my God, how many times can I take the inner sect examination with 10,000 points? Wow, could there be a mistake? 10,000 points was without a doubt an astronomical number. Everyone was stunned because task credit was really too hard to earn. Bailey Tianhai and Zhao Dehan had only earned around 500 points in the past 2 months, and that was something that they had earned by risking their lives. It suddenly increased to 10,000 points. It was like he was in a dream. Long Fei was also shocked. 10,000 points? Bailey Tianhai let out an excited cry and said, "Big brother, we're rich." Zhongqi's points were always the highest in the outer sect disciples, but now that his points were in front of Long Fei, he was like a dregs. "Elder, I'm going to complain. This disciple is definitely crazy." Dong Tiankui's eyes moved slightly. A few outer door presbyters immediately understood and quickly walked towards the room. But after they entered, not a single sound was made, and no one stopped that disciple. This made Dong Tiankui even more shocked. Could it be that someone is controlling it inside? Immediately, Dong Tiankui bellowed. He walked to the window and was about to speak. An elder walked forward and said, "Sir Peak Owner, there is someone here to invite you in." Dong Tiankui coldly glanced at him and ignored him. However, when he saw the command medallion in the elder's hand, his eyebrows immediately tightened and his eyes immediately relaxed. "Please lead the way." The two King Swordsman Powerhouse wanted to follow along, but were stopped by Dong Tiankui. Long Fei walked towards the window. At this moment, everyone's eyes were fixated on him. His body seemed to be glowing with a golden light. He was like a god. He would soon be someone with 10,000 points, and he would soon be the number one person in the outer sect. Zhongqi clenched his fists tightly, which made a cracking sound, as his eyes locked onto Long Fei tightly. Long Fei walked to the window, handed over his identity badge, and said, "Senior brother, did you really make a mistake?" The mission disciple said, "Senior brother Long, I'm sorry, I was wrong just now. I will pass the task reward to you right now." Incomparable respect. It was as if he had met his ancestors. It was completely different from the beginning. "All right, I've already recorded the 10,000 points for you. Now, you have 10,200 points in total." Long Fei said indifferently. "Can I share with my friends?" "Of course you can." Long Fei looked at Bailey Tianhai and said, "Everyone, come over here. Everyone will get 1,000 points." He started with 1,000 points. 1,000 points, many disciples would never be able to accumulate in their entire lives. Too rich. Bailey Tianhai and Zhao Dehan excitedly walked up and coldly glanced at Zhongqi and said, "We didn't think about it, right? Destroying our points, we still have our big brother, huh?" Zhongqi's face turned red. He looked towards Dong Tiankui, but Dong Tiankui was no longer there. Since he had already acquired the points, that meant he had truly completed the mission. Long Fei saw that the brothers of 5 elements had not moved and said, "You guys come over as well. Come with us to participate in the inner sect examination tomorrow." "Us? Boss, we can't do it yet. If we participate in the assessment, we will only implicate you." We, brothers of 5 elements, did not expect Long Fei to share the points with them. 1,000 points. Too much. Long Fei said, "We are brothers. We will be back as soon as I call you." Brothers of 5 elements walked forward and handed over his identity plate, also giving him 1,000 points each. This caused even more people to be incomparably envious. The brothers of 5 elements had always been mocked by others as one of the 5 great trash of the city. He had become a tycoon in an instant, and even wanted to participate in the inner sect examination. All of a sudden, it was as if the 5 of them had gone to heaven. The points were all divided. Zhongqi's face ashened, and he was about to leave. However, Long Fei said lightly, "You want to leave?" Zhongqi's face sank and said, "Do you still want to stop me?" Long Fei said, "If you want to leave, you can do so anytime. But before you leave, do you have to fulfill the terms of the bet? You won't forget, right? Let me remind you, eat shit." "Eat shit, eat shit," Zhao Dehan bellowed out. Zhongqi's pupils constricted. With a heavy voice, he said, "I don't know what you're talking about." Bailey Tianhai said, "Are you willing to bet and not lose?" "Oh, not bad." Long Fei said straightforwardly, "Do you believe I'll beat the sh*t out of you and stuff it into your mouth for you to swallow. This fellow had been laughing the entire time. Arrogant? Acting cool in front of Long Fei? Could there be a good ending? Zhongqi said, Long Fei, we're all senior brother-s from the same sect. We can't even see each other's heads. Let's just forget about this matter today. We'll work hard together during tomorrow's intersect examination. Long Fei immediately spat on his body. Don't bother with this nonsense. I'm just asking you, are you going to eat or not? Zhongqi said angrily. Brat, you will not have a good ending if you offend me. Do you believe that I won't let you all die in there tomorrow? He began to play around viciously. At the same time, Hu Liehua's group of lackeys moved forward and immediately stood next to Zhongqi. The atmosphere was fierce. The surrounding people spread out, afraid that they would be affected, and didn't dare to provoke Long Fei. All of a sudden, there was only 100 disciples around Zhongqi and only 10 people around him, including Long Fei and the Phoenix. A sharp contrast. Zhongqi snorted and said, You think you can fight me? You should consider whether or not you are qualified. Not waiting for him to finish. Long Fei immediately rushed over with his walk like snakeskin and ruthlessly slapped downwards with his palm. Qualification your head. Suddenly he slapped. Zhongqi still did not expect Long Fei to make a move and to do it in front of more than 100 of his subordinates. His face was already in pain, but now with this slap, it felt as if it was going to split open and blood began to seep out from his pores. Zhongqi raged. I want to kill you. The aura on his body trembled, forming a powerful pressure. Boom! His cultivation was much higher than Long Fei's. Before he used any of his techniques, his oppressive might first stun Long Fei, and then he made his move. This was the best way to crush a low-level expert. However, the moment he released his aura, Yunshi moved and blocked in front of Long Fei. Her eyes turned cold, and her long hair fluttered in the wind. In an instant, it sealed Zhongqi's entire body. It also pushed back his aura. Plop! Zhongqi was crushed to the point of kneeling on the ground. Hu Liehua and the others tensed up and immediately shouted out, Brothers, kill them! Like a god of death, Yunshi coldly replied, Let anyone try. A strand of hair wrapped itself around Zhongqi's neck, causing blood to ooze out. If he used even the slightest bit of strength, his head would have been cut off by a strand of hair. Zhongqi was so scared that his face turned pale. His hoarse voice shouted, Don't move. Everyone stopped. Zhongqi looked at Long Fei and said, Brat, you only know how to hide behind women. Long Fei had a face full of pride. That's right, I just like to hide behind women. Bite me, you try hiding too. To be Xiao Bai's face, I am willing and honorable. So what? While they were talking, she grabbed Yunshi's waist. Yunshi glared at Long Fei, but Long Fei acted as if he did not see it. Everyone disdainfully said, Shameless. At this time, Tuda held a large banana leaf and entered while holding a pile of feces that was still emitting hot air, saying, It was just baked just now. Senior brother Zhongqi, don't be polite, it's still warm. Zhongqi's face was ashen, his teeth chattering loudly. Long Fei said, What are you waiting for? Eat the rest. I will have my woman cut off your head. All the veins in Zhongqi's body stood out. At the window, several elders looked outside, and Dong Tianke said with a slight voice, It's not good to play like this, right? Kids, just let them play. His voice was calm. However, with that said, Dong Tianke immediately didn't dare to speak. Those outer door presbyters did not even dare to breathe too loudly. No one dared to offend this elder. Zhongqi trembled. His eyeballs were about to pop out. Seeing him not moving, Long Fei took the banana leaf and covered it up. Eat this sh*t. Zhongqi's mouth just happened to be wide open. That shit. Ugh. Ugh. His mouth was filled with feces, and his face was filled with feces. He looked as though he had died. Long Fei coldly snorted and said, If you touch my brother, then we'll settle the score, but tell Lin Yuan, once I enter the inner sect, the one who will be dealt with will be him. He said it heavily. Then, Long Fei turned and left. Zhongqi crazily wiped the feces on his face as his stomach rolled nonstop, shouting loudly, Long Fei, just you wait, I'll definitely kill you. I will definitely kill you. Ugh. Another bout of vomiting occurred. Long Fei stood at the entrance of the task palace, heard Zhongqi's crazed shout, and said coldly, "If you offend me again, your life will be over." Bailey Tianhai said, "Big brother, we don't have much time left. We need to hurry up and register. If not, we might miss next year." Long Fei nodded his head and said, Everyone should go and register together." Just as they were about to leave, a disciple that they had never seen before walked up to Long Fei and said, "Junior brother Long, my master wants to invite you over." He looked like a scholar. It was impossible to tell how high his cultivation level was. However, the feeling it gave Long Fei was that he was at least in the advanced stage of the Sword Immortal stage. Zhao Dahan's brows tightened and said slightly, "Who is your master? Tell him to come over himself." Long Fei said indifferently. He took out his identity card and said, "Tianhai, help me register for it." The disciple in front of him was definitely not an outer court disciple. Moreover, he knew that someone had just helped him. This person's authority was even higher than Dong Tiankui. The only people who could make Dong Tiankui not dare to mutter to himself were either the sect master or the great clan elder of Main Hall Peak. Long Fei made a gesture of invitation and said, "I'll have to trouble senior brother to lead the way." Phoenix pulled Long Fei's arm and looked at Long Fei, not wanting him to leave. Long Fei scratched the bridge of the Phoenix's nose and said, "It's fine." Gently withdrawing his hand, he followed the scholar to a secluded place. Passing through a small forest, they arrived at a unique, elegant courtyard surrounded by purple bamboo. Long Fei had been out of the sect for several months already, but he had never heard of this place before. An old servant stood at the entrance of the beautiful courtyard. He looked at Long Fei and bowed slightly, saying, "Young master, after you." It was extremely respectful. Long Fei nodded his head lightly. He stepped into the courtyard, and the Confucian scholar stopped outside the courtyard. He walked into the garden. An old man clasped his hands behind his back. Upon seeing Long Fei walk in, he revealed a faint smile and said, "You're finally here." Long Fei walked forward and said, "You are?" The elder smiled and said, "You should have already guessed who I am now, right?" Long Fei hugged on both of his arms, and without acting reserved any longer, he said, "Great elder." The old man was the great clan elder of the inner sect. He looked at Long Fei and said, "Smart." Long Fei said, "Great clan elder, why have you called this disciple here?" The great clan elder stroked his beard, looked at Long Fei with interest, and said, "You should be clear in your heart about why I called you here. You should know what I called you here for, right? You should know what I called you here for, right?" The great elder's words caused Long Fei's heart to sink, and he silently asked, "Holy Godhead?" The 3 God missions were issued by the Grand Elder. He should know what was in them very well. If he were to see all the divine sparks, it would be impossible to hide from his eyes. The temptation of Holy Godhead S was too great. To someone who would never be able to enter the divine space in their entire lifetime, Holy Godhead was their only chance. Ooh! Long Fei let out a light breath and said indifferently, "You helped me, so?" Seeing Long Fei's frown, the great clan elder suddenly laughed and said, "Look at how nervous you are. Don't worry, I won't ask for anything from you, including the Holy Godhead on your body." Long Fei was startled, a little confused. He had already made the decision to give the Holy Godhead out. The great elder had definitely heard it, but he had said those words. The great elder said, "Holy Godhead, this is such a great temptation. In the mortal world, there are almost no one who can resist this kind of temptation." Long Fei said, "Then you..." The great clan elder said, "This old man likes to act cool too." Long Fei. He was somewhat speechless. If the great elder asked him for it, Long Fei didn't have a choice. He will give it. This was because the great clan elder had helped him earlier. Besides this, he had already offended many people in ancient antiquity. He didn't care if he was alone, but the Phoenix could not, Bailey Tianhai could not, the Brothers of 5 Elements could not, He could not only care about himself, he had to think for the people around him, especially Phoenix. Those black-clothed high gods did not appear, but no one knew when they would appear. At least, he was safe in the ancient antiquity. The headmaster said lightly, "All right, let's not talk about this anymore. I want to know the reason why you gave up the opportunity to become a god. The divine spark that you have obtained can only grant you the cultivation of a divine god, but it can't allow you to enter the divine space. Also, you can completely enter the divine space and then fuse with the divine spark." He really wanted to know that. After discovering that someone had completed the quest, he thought that this person had already entered the divine space. However, Long Fei did not do so because he had given up the opportunity to become a god. Long Fei said indifferently, "The door is too small. I don't want to go in on my knees." He spoke lightly. The great clan elder looked at Long Fei, his eyes pausing for half a minute, his heart thumping. He thought Long Fei was acting cool, but in his eyes he saw something else, firm and unswerving. "Even if I wanted it, I would have taken it myself, not charity. Even if I have to enter the divine space, I will break through the shackles myself and enter it with my own strength and not go in on my knees." The great elder looked excited. "Do you know how many people have given up their dream chances? Not to mention a small door, even if you were to kneel or crawl, that is a chance that many people cannot find. You actually gave it up." Finished. The great elder didn't lament over this. Instead, he began to laugh out loud. "Ha ha, ha ha, brat, you really have a personality." Long Fei could only smile. Actually, it was just that he was not prepared. If he was prepared, if he was really able to completely crush Emperor Xian, it would be a different choice. The great clan elder said, "I had thought that you would be the first person in ancient antiquity to enter the divine space. But who would have thought that my hopes would fail again? However, brat, you're quite a bastard. I like it. Fighters should be like this. They should be able to face everything with their heads held high and their chests puffed up. Even if they have the chance to become a god, they can still persevere with their original intention. It's really good." The great elder was slightly excited. After pausing for a moment, the head elder said with a slight smile, "But have you thought about the consequences of not giving up this opportunity to enter the divine space?" His voice suddenly became serious. Long Fei asked, "Consequences?" The great clan elder said, "The 3 divine missions were given to me by a certain master in the divine space. I actually wanted to let some of the geniuses in the mortal world take a shortcut to enter the divine space. Now that the mission is complete, you did not enter. This probably makes that lord lose a lot of face. If I get angry." The grand elder's face tightened. "You've probably offended him with your actions. Divine powerhouse is charity. Mortals don't appreciate it." This was not giving him any face at all. How could the lofty divine powerhouse not be angry? Actually, Long Fei really did not think too much. He just did not want to crawl in like a dog. If he wanted to enter the divine space, he would raise his chest, lift his head, and go in instead of going into the dog hole. Long Fei said, "I didn't think that far." The great clan elder patted on Long Fei's shoulder and said, "I can only hope that some lord has forgotten about this matter. All right, don't worry about it. If any of the lords really ask, I will help you find a way out. Cultivate well. If you have any problems with cultivation in the future, feel free to look for me." The great clan elder laughed lightly and patted Long Fei's shoulder. Following that, he was about to leave the courtyard. The old servant followed, and the Confucian scholar also followed. Not long after, the 3 of them left. "Master, that's a holy godhead, you." The old servant didn't understand, but he knew that as long as he took the divine spark, he would be considered a part of the divine class. A good opportunity. Moreover, as long as the great clan elder opened his mouth, Long Fei would definitely give it to him. From afar, he could clearly see everything. The great clan elder smiled and said, "Ah, holy godhead, my entire life's goal. Lu Sun, what do you think?" The Confucian scholar's name was Lu Sun. He raised his eyes and said, "Master, I have no opinion." The great clan elder laughed. "Do you not have an opinion on holy godhead or that brat?" Lu Sun's lips moved a little and said, Disciple is only envious of him. Disciple was unable to even pass through the first trial, yet he actually broke through 3 trials. The last time Lu Luoshi entered South Heaven Gate, it was also him. I believe that junior sister Lu's ability has yet to break through South Heaven Gate. The great elder nodded and said, "Your guess is correct. He was the one who broke all 3 trials." After receiving confirmation, Lu Sun's eyes widened in shock, and he asked, how did he do it? It was hard to imagine. He had been trying out this quest nonstop for decades, and it could be said that there was no one in ancient antiquity who had as many attempts as him. But, regardless of his choice, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't break through the South Heaven Gate. However, a person with a lower cultivation level had done it, and it was an outer court disciple. He was not jealous, he only felt jealousy in his heart, and he even wanted to request to teach Long Fei. Was the gap between people that large? He was really envious of Long Fei. He was really envious of Long Fei, although his cultivation was higher than Long Fei. But when he saw Long Fei, he felt that she was no match for him. This was his intuition. He wanted to compete with Long Fei. Do you want to know what's wrong with you? The great clan elder saw through Lu Sun's thoughts and laughed. Lu Sun, some people are born with great fortune. You cannot compare to them. Lu Sun's eyes were a little stubborn, and he said, "Master, I want to give it a try." The great clan elder thought for a moment, then replied, "It's good to give it a try. It should help you improve. Your King Swordsman rank has not been used for a long time. How about this? Let's see if he can enter the 3rd stage. If he can, I will arrange for you to compete with him. I hope he can reap some rewards." Lu Sun's eyes revealed joy and said, "Thank you, Master." The great elder said indifferently, "Don't hold any hope. That kind of person might be in existence that you will never be able to catch up to in your entire life." No one knew better than the great elder about the difficulty of the 3 great missions. No one knew the temptation of the path of God better than him. Facing the holy Godhead, Long Fei was incomparably calm. In his eyes, the holy Godhead was like a broken stone, and such a person was destined to be extraordinary. No matter what kind of buff he had, he was an existence that many people would never be able to reach in their entire lives. Take Lu Sun, for example. He had the talent of an ancient user. His talent was very unique, the king of all swords. His cultivation was outstanding among the young generation of the ancient antiquity. Even Ling Yuan was unable to match up to him. However, in front of Long Fei, his confidence dropped abruptly, as if she was a level lower than Long Fei. It had nothing to do with cultivation. It had something to do with people. It was as if he was born into it. The servant spoke softly. "Master." He left the purple bamboo courtyard. The great elder nodded and replied, "Yes." However, he felt reluctant. God of Heaven Realm. Sigh. When Long Fei took out the divine clone, her eyes flashed with a tempting glint. He was unable to resist it, and in the end, it was as if her heart was crying blood. I don't want anyone to know about the God of Heaven Plane. In addition, I can forget about the things from the past, but I hope that everything will be treated fairly in this inner court disciple exam. The great elder said indifferently. It was obvious that he was unhappy about the rookie selection. Such a talent was actually blocked outside the inner sect. If Long Fei left, what kind of loss would it bring to the ancient antiquity? The old servant softly said, "I understand. I will arrange it." The great clan elder nodded and said, "You can go and make the arrangements first and..." Incidentally, I'll remind Dong Tiankue not to move around carelessly. His expression was solemn, without any room for negotiation. So what if you're a peak owner of the Horcrux's Gate Hill? The old servant bowed slightly and retreated a few steps. "I will arrange it." His figure disappeared from the spot. The great elder looked at the setting sun in the distance and said, "Brat, go ahead and fly as high as you want." What did you say? That brat Long Fei completed the 3 gods' mission. That's impossible. Impossible. Lin Yuan was furious. Her forehead was furrowed. Her fists were clenched tightly. He did not believe it, but he knew that Zhongqi would not lie to him. The mission must have been completed, Zhongqi said. Other than completing the mission, he also received an additional 10,000 points of task credit as reward. He and his brothers have all registered to participate in this time's intersect examination. Senior brother, Lin Yuan immediately interrupted. So what if you've already signed up? Could it be that he wants to pass the examination? Humph. Lin Yuan looked at Zhongqi and said, Your chance to show off has arrived. Zhongqi's eyes flashed, and she said, Senior brother, I will definitely not disappoint you. Lin Yuan nodded and said, All right, I was waiting for those words of yours. With a flip of his right hand, he took out a small porcelain bottle and said, There are 10 explosive holy source pills. One pill is enough to increase your cultivation by 1-fold in a short amount of time. Zhongqi excitedly accepted it carefully with both hands, saying, Thank you, senior brother. I will definitely crush that group of trash. Lin Yuan laughed coldly and said, I want them to die in the first stage. Zhongqi nodded heavily and said, Understood. Lin Yuan said, All right, you should go and make some preparations. There will be someone to help you in the intersect examination this time. Don't worry. Zhongqi said, Thank you, senior brother. He quickly left. Not long after, Tianjin came out and asked, Could there be a mistake? The mission of God has been completed. Lin Yuan sneered and said, So what if it's completed? I will also prevent him from entering the intersect. Tianjin smiled slightly and said, Brother Lin, the power of your holy source's angry, exploding pellet. Lin Yuan sneered and said, He's just an outer disciple. If he's crippled, then so be it. In front of him, everyone else was just a pawn. Holy source exploding pellets can indeed cause a person's cultivation to explosively increase in a short amount of time. However, once the effects of the medicine were over, the user would basically be crippled. Even if he didn't die, he would at least be crippled. Cultivation bays would disperse everything. Tianjin also laughed coldly. At this moment, the space between Tianjin's eyebrows tightened. There's a powerful aura forcing its way in. Lin Yuan also felt it 10,000 meters away. Before he could finish, an old servant quietly landed behind them like a snowflake. Cold sweat instantly appeared on their foreheads, and they didn't dare to move an inch. In the first half-second, he had been 10,000 meters away, appearing right in front of them. This was an existence that could crush them for 100,000 miles. He didn't dare to move recklessly. What they were even more afraid of was not the old servant's cultivation level, but the beauty of his chest. Great Elder's beauty. With just a thought, the two of them could tell who it was using their toes. He was so scared that he couldn't even make a sound, and his knees were trembling uncontrollably. The old servant said softly, I do not care what you have done in the past. If you were to target Long Fei in this intersect examination, then you will forever disappear from this world. Understood. An understatement. It did not have any destructive power. However, to Lin Yuan and Heavenly Sword, their minds and seas of consciousness felt as though they were about to explode. Both of them tried their best to say, Ming understood. The old servant lightly said, Very good. Then, his figure flashed and disappeared. Both of them were drenched from head to toe, as if they had been fished out of water. Their faces were pale, and they panted heavily, falling to the ground as they lost their footing. After a long time, only now did they slightly recover. Tianjin asked the matter of the holy source exploding a pill in anger. Lin Yuan's eyes darkened and said, Even the great clan elder opened up a path for this kid. Then he should die even more. If he were to enter the intersect, would we still have a good time? His murderous intent was even stronger. Horcrux's Gate. Horcrux's Gate. Dong Tiankui's face turned ugly as he looked at the old servant in front of him. It was also an old demon from the ancient antiquity. He didn't know how long he had lived, but in this lifetime, there was only one person who could command him, and that was the Great Elder. Even if the Grand Master ordered it, he wouldn't hear it in front of him. Standing before him and feeling the aura radiating from his body, he found it difficult to breathe. Dong Tiankuei forced himself to calm down and asked softly, "Is this the great elder's idea, or is it yours?" No matter where the old servant went, no matter who he was talking to, he would always bow his body as if he was a servant who was used to being a servant and would never be able to get back. He would bow his body and say, "Great clan elder, do you understand what all the Mountain Peak Lord Dong S are trying to do?" Dong Tiankuei's pupils contracted slightly as he replied, "I understand." "Very good." The old servant turned around and left. After taking a few steps, he stopped and said, "Mountain Peak Lord Dong, I must remind you that the great clan elder values him very much, and he does not wish for any bad intentions to appear. So, it is best if you do not have any more ideas on him." His tone was very calm. However, Dong Tiankuei sounded like tens of thousands of killing intent. It was very hard. This painful feeling did not improve until the old servant disappeared. Cluck, cluck. He clenched both his fists tightly, and his joints started to make popping noises as the muscles in the corner of Dong Tiankuei's eyes twitched slightly. His eyes were filled with killing intent. An elder walked up and said, "Senior brother now." Dong Tiankuei said in a gloomy voice, "So what if it is the great clan elder? I don't believe that he would dare to do anything to me for a dead person. How is the task I gave you going?" He was in a bad mood. Being stopped by the great elder in the outer sect made him unhappy. How could he let go of a duck that was so close to his mouth when it just flew away like that? Moreover, this was related to the recovery of his cultivation base, so he definitely could not let it go. He had to get the highest grade fire soul. Great elder's authority was great, but he didn't believe that he would fall out with a dead person. After all, he was still the patriarch of the Horcrux's Gate. At this moment, in his eyes, Long Fei was a dead man. "It's done. The people from Dark God Tribe will appear at the examination grounds." The corner of Dong Tiankuei's mouth lifted slightly and said, "Very good. It's for the best if they appear. Dark God Tribe, an assassination organization. To be exact, it should be a high-level assassination club. As long as a large bounty was provided, the Dark God Tribe would accept it no matter who the target was." He was the kind of person who wouldn't give up until he reached his goal. This time, Dong Tiankuei had spent a total of 10,000 holy source stones. 10,000 holy source stones, to him, this was a huge number. As long as he obtained the highest grade fire soul, and as Long Fei died, he would be able to spend these 10,000 holy source stones. The corners of Dong Tiankuei's mouth slightly hooked up as he looked at the sky that was slowly growing darker, and coldly said, "Kid, by this time tomorrow, you will be a dead man. Haha. Just you wait." In Long Fei's courtyard, everyone returned from registration and had a big meal. Everyone was happy. Today was a day to vent his anger. Zhongqi's appearance of eating sh*t was now being mocked by the entire outer sect. Bailey Tianhai and Zhao Dehan were especially grateful to Long Fei in their hearts. If it were the two of them, it was unknown when they would be able to get back at Long Fei. By the time they had the strength to get back at him, Zhongqi would probably already be an inner disciple. At that time, it would be even more impossible for them. Moreover, if not for Long Fei's help, their cultivation would not have been able to improve so quickly. In the past 2 days, it was as if there was someone cultivating in their place, so even if they did not cultivate, their cultivation would continue to improve at every second. That ball of power was abnormally strong. They didn't know that Long Fei had given them 2 drops of spirit blood. The power his spirit blood possessed was unimaginable. Bailey Tianhai was extremely grateful in his heart as he said while looking at Long Fei, "Big brother, thank you." Zhao Dehan also immediately stood up and said, "Big brother, thank you." Long Fei said, "We are brothers, let alone thank you for your words." Long Fei was like that. As long as he was a brother, there was no need to thank him. Bailey Tianhai was choked with sobs. Long Fei changed the topic and said, "Tomorrow is the intersect examination. Analyze it for me." Bailey Tianhai coughed lightly and said, "The intersect examination is divided into 3 parts. The first part is to enter the depths of the ancient lime mountain to gain experience. I have to survive in order to have the chance to enter the second stage. Living is just a chance and represents that I will definitely be able to enter. There were many living senior brother in the past, but they didn't pass the first stage of the examination. That's why I feel that if we were to continue hunting for demon beast while we're still alive, the chances of you passing were higher. Brothers of 5 elements fire muttered and said, in the depths of the ancient lime mountain are all these high-level demon beasts. Even inner disciples do not dare to recklessly enter. If we go in, aren't we just going to send us to our deaths? I heard that too. Deep inside the ancient lime mountain are existences similar to forbidden areas. There are even many demon beasts that have evolved to human forms. These demon beasts are all demon emperor level existences. Bailey Tianhai said, that's right, that place is indeed very dangerous, and that is why most people would fail during the first stage of the trial. Long Fei said indifferently, we demon beasts have to guard against it, but humans also have to. Bailey Tianhai replied, yes, other than demon beast, there are also ways to prevent senior brother disciples by your side. As long as one of them is a competitor while participating in the intersect examination, it's equivalent to losing a competitor. Those who do not trust, you must be extra careful. The human heart is evil. You don't know who will stab you from behind. So other than us, don't trust anyone else. Brothers of 5 elements nodded and said, in. Bailey Tianhai said, if you can smoothly pass the first stage, the second stage is the display of talent. This is the same as the rookie selection. The only difference is strength, speed, and the display of skills, because this is the standard for your progress in the outer sect. It would be even better if he could display his stronger talent. If you don't display it well, it will also be deleted. You must perform well in this stage. This will increase the impression points of some elder of inner house. The last stage is a martial arts battle. According to past experience, martial arts battles are usually conducted with disciples who are selected together. However, there are also special situations. There could be an accident. The reason why the ancient antiquities intersect examination is so difficult is because of this. Every single trial requires an elder to give points. What we need to do is explode. Use all of your strength. There was definitely no problem with Bailey Tianhai and Zhao Dehan exploding forth. But brothers of 5 elements' words. Long Fei said, the assessment should be exactly this process. Now I want to send you guys something. Each of you will wear a set of armor. Each of you will wear a set of armor. They were all false god armor, although the difference was too great compared to the heavenly god armor. Compared to the armor of an ordinary mortal world, this was already a few streets away. Since Long Fei allowed them to participate in the assessment, then all of his brothers would have to pass. Otherwise, how could he be called a brother? Zhao Dehan's eyes lit up when he saw the armor. He became excited and said, this armor, it seems to be completely different from ordinary armor. He was the first to put it on. When the armor entered his body, Zhao Dehan clenched his fists tightly. Wong! The armor erupted with waves of powerful energy, which was extremely robust, and also erupted with streaks of golden light. Although this golden light was weaker than the fake god, it was still very powerful. Stepping forward like a tiger, his fists were like hammers. Zhao Dehan executed a set of punches. Each of his punches had the power of an explosion. He retracted his aura. Immediately, the armor on his body once again concealed itself. So powerful! Bailey Tianhai exclaimed. Zhao Dehan's face was filled with joy as he said, Big brother, this armor is too overpowered. Long Fei laughed. It's good that you like it. Everyone one set. All of them. With the protection of these armors, even if they met a spirit demon emperor level demon beast in the examination tomorrow, they need not worry too much. Phoenix giggled and said, My honey, what about me? Long Fei stroked the Phoenix's forehead and said, I am your armor. Phoenix's small face reddened, and she said, My honey, you're so nice. She then turned and laid her head on Long Fei's lap. with a look of happiness on her face. Long Fei smiled knowingly. Our girl will blush. Phoenix appeared, even more shy. Each of you will receive one, combining it with the cultivation method I passed down to you last time to break through even faster. You don't need to do anything in the first round of the examination. Just focus on cultivation. The spiritual chi of heaven and earth should be denser in the depths of the ancient lime mountain. It would be more beneficial to you. I want all of you to awaken your powers within 3 days and use them to prepare for the second round of the talent display. Can you do it? Long Fei said in a serious tone. Brothers of 5 elements had to activate the power of the attributes in his body, otherwise they would be useless. As long as their power was activated, they would be unable to stop it. It was just like what Long Quang had said. In the future, they would be able to control the power of the 5 elements. The 5 of them nodded their heads. We can do it. Long Fei said, if you can't do it, then you don't need to see me anymore. He had to put some pressure on them. The 5 looked determined. Long Fei had saved their lives, given them the cultivation method. Now he had given them the armor and rare source stone S. If they still could not do it, without Long Fei saying anything, they would feel embarrassed to meet Long Fei again. All right, on the last night, everyone rest well. Tomorrow will be a hard and bitter battle. Long Fei said softly. He was cultivating as well, hoping to break through to the next level. The crowd dispersed. Long Fei also returned to his room and sat cross-legged. The idea moved and said, enter the refined space. Long Fei immediately appeared outside the refined space's gate. The 8 gates were standing. Long Fei was currently only training in the sword cultivating space. There were 7 other gates that he had not opened before, of which he could understand 6 of them. But the 8th gate was of an unknown attribute. Long Fei did not know what it was. Humph! Wait until I enter the inner sect. I'll go challenge them one by one. Let's break through first. As Long Fei stepped into the sword cultivation gate, the system chimed in. Ding! System notification. Do you wish to enter the Sword Lord Realm Dungeon Dome? Long Fei broke through the Sword Saint Realm and activated the instance dungeon. Long Fei did not enter. The higher the level, the more difficult the instance dungeon would be. Long Fei replied, no, for the time being, I won't go in. I'll first settle the matter of the inner court disciple exam. Long Fei was not in a rush. As long as he was still in the Master Swordsman rank, the instance dungeon would continue to exist. Moreover, instance dungeons only had one chance. If the challenge failed, then there wouldn't be a second time. He had to make a perfect plan. In the middle of refined space, Long Fei was crazily training as if he was self-torturing himself. His cultivation was just like his experience, increasing bit by bit. It was just that it couldn't be displayed in the form of data like the experience points. Ascending Dragon. Explode. As soon as a sword skill was unleashed, Long Fei's aura exploded and numerous azure dragons rose from the ground, instantly charging hundreds of meters into the sky. Then, boom, 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 it suddenly exploded forth. Not strong enough. Again, 9 Dragon Shrine. Long Fei channeled the power of a dragon into his sword skills, and then, the power that erupted was completely different. The sword strokes seemed to have a mind of their own. The Master Swordsman rank. Right now, he was not just training his flesh, more of it was training his sword intent. Sword cultivation was extremely important. Long Fei waved his big treasure sword, sword after sword as he practiced. Just like a beginner, there were never shortcuts on the road to success, so Long Fei relied on training hard to achieve success. Early in the morning, the sky turned white in the east. Intersect Sword Elf Mountain Peak. Lu Luoshi looked at the red sun rising from the east, and the corner of his mouth curled up slightly, revealing 2 shallow dimples, and his smile was very beautiful. In the distance, Ling Yuan was dumbstruck. However, he knew that there was an insurmountable gulf separating him and Lu Luoshi. Last time when she had jumped off the cliff, he had hesitated. He knew that he was not worthy of Lu Luoshi. However, when he saw the happy smile on Lu Luoshi's face, he was satisfied. Lu Luoshi muttered, "Today is the day of the inner sect examination. It won't be long before I see him again. While they were talking, her hand subconsciously touched her stomach. The smile on his face grew wider and wider. That kind of joy. It was completely different from the blissful feeling she had when she was young. It was more like a joy about to be a mother. Luluashi muttered, "I don't know if you'll be scared." She smiled. She was so moved by the morning light. It was as if she was a peerless beauty. As the sun rose, the outer sect began to get busy. The most important day of the year. In the center of the plaza, Laozi was gathered with a lot of people. Long Fei and Bailey Tianhai had also been here for a long time because they had entered the assessment grounds early in the morning, and because the teleportation formation could not be transmitted, it took them a few days just to rush there. On the stage, the outer door great presbyter said loudly, "I won't say too much. This is a moment that concerns both your lives and death. Enter the inner sect. Live. Fight back to your original form and die. This is what training is all about. Going against the flow of the water is like going against the flow of a boat. Retreating is like going back to the abyss. One can only advance bravely. Enough. Beat the drum, let's go." Bang, 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 bang. Bang, 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 bang. The battle drum sounded out and the sky rumbled. The guards formed by the outer door presbyter set off first, with the disciples following in the middle. The journey was extremely dangerous. Other than the outer door presbyter, there were still other elder of inner house S and guards. This was to ensure the safety of these examination disciples before they reached their destination. Amongst the crowd, Zhao Dahan's face was filled with excitement, and he said excitedly, "It's just like going out to war. It makes my blood boil." Long Fei said, "This is probably even harsher than fighting. The chances of a war are higher than this." Long Fei took this opportunity to glance at the 200 disciples and muttered, "I don't know if we can survive past 10%. Deep in the ancient Lime Mountain, where the demon beast ruled, within a trillion km area, it was one of the most dangerous places. The demon king of the legend of the cloud, swallowing fog. The demon emperor who had crushed the earth. He then transformed into the bewitching demon fox king. Not to mention hunting. Survival was the biggest test of all. To be able to come back alive was akin to burning incense, but he knew there was danger, but he had no choice but to go. There was no turning back on the path of martial arts. This was the only way to enter the inner sect. He entered the examination, open and honorable, just like back then when he was in front of Ling, Shao Palace's dog cave. He had to crawl inside. Those that did not exist, even if they wanted to enter, had to step on the divine space openly. Bailey Tianhai said in a faint voice, "After entering the inner sect, the first person I'll look for will be Lin Yuan. He sent people to kill us again and again. If you don't take revenge, then I'm not called Bailey Tianhai." He just wanted to enter the inner sect and kill Lin Yuan. As for the test, he didn't take it seriously. He was currently a genius with 8 brains, so he really didn't place this test in his eyes. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "He will go in." "Definitely." Long Fei raised his head and looked in the direction of the Sword Elf Mountain, and thought to himself, "I promised her before." At this time, Yunshi walked up to him coldly and said, "It's not that simple. The place we're going to this time is different from any other place. If you were to describe the places where demon beasts run rampant in front of our eyes, then this time it should be the places where the demon emperor run rampant." Phoenix giggled and said, "Even demon emperor isn't afraid." She glanced at the phoenix and laughed bitterly, wanting to say, "Even the demon god of Heaven King probably wouldn't be afraid of you." But when he wanted to say something, he was interrupted by Long Fei. "Don't worry, I will protect you." Yunshi's eyes turned cold, revealing killing intent. Long Fei said, "You still owe me one night. Why not spend it with me in this forest?" Yunshi said, "All right, let me see how you broke your third leg." He stretched out his right hand, then clenched it. Crack! It was like the sound of an egg breaking. This scared both Zhao Dahan and Bailey Tianhai to the point that they shrunk at the same time. Long Fei laughed and said, "You like to break my third leg that much? Don't worry, I'll let you have enough when the time comes." Yunshi's face reddened, and she couldn't wait to shove Long Fei into the crevice. "Stop talking," an elder said in a low voice. "We have already entered the ancient Lime Mountain. Keep quiet." The crowd instantly quieted down. Sometimes, even the slightest sound could attract demon beast. It was fine to stay at the periphery, but if they reached the depths of the ancient Lime Mountain, any demon beast would be enough for them to drink. Phoenix giggled and said, "How exciting." Long Fei laughed bitterly. She was not afraid of anything. She looked at Phoenix. Long Fei said in a low voice, "Don't look anymore. It's useless even if you look too much." After observing the situation a few times, She had no hostility towards the Phoenix, so he shouldn't be that black-clothed man. She asked, "Where did you pick up this treasure?" Long Fei said, "What do you think?" She rolled his eyes at Long Fei. Another elder said, "I said, keep quiet." Zhongqi, who was not far away, immediately pointed at Long Fei and said, "Elder, it's them who are speaking. This kind of person would kill all of us." A cold glint flashed across Zhongqi's eyes. The elder stared at Long Fei and said, "If there's a third time, you'll—" Just as he was speaking, Long Fei said, "The demon beast is here." The elder was stunned. He looked back and saw that the surrounding was silent. He was angry. "Kid, you dared play with this old man? I don't think you want to take the exam." Long Fei said seriously, "Elder, the demon beast really came. From your front and back. I have not deceived you." The elder turned his head again. The surroundings were still quiet. The idea could not feel any more auras from the demon beast. No demon beast approached them. Zhongqi immediately stirred up the flames and said, "Clan elder, he is indeed messing with you. The surroundings are completely quiet. Where did the demon beast come from?" "Exactly. What cultivation does he have?" "It's just the master swordsman rank. His sensing ability can't surpass the elder's. It's obvious that he's messing with you. This kind of disciple doesn't have the qualifications to participate in the exam. Abolish his qualifications." Many people clamored. If there was one less disciple to take the test, then there would be one less competitor. At this time, many people were adding insult to injury. The surrounding elders also had faces full of contempt and mockery. Because in the surrounding area, they could not sense the existence of any demon beast. Just not yet. How could there be a demon beast? The elder's anger rose. He was teased by a disciple in front of so many people and was about to get angry. Long Fei looked at Zhao Dahan. Zhao Dahan immediately walked forward. At the same time, Bailey Tianhai, brothers of 5 elements, is ready for battle. Zhongqi disdainfully said, "Pretentious." Long Fei didn't pay any attention to him and indifferently said, "It's precisely because it's quiet that it's different. We don't even hear the sound of a bird. It's very obvious that we have already entered the territory of some demon beast. In less than a minute, that demon beast will pounce at you from behind." The elder was enraged. "I don't know if there are any demon beast. Are you a guard? Or am I a guard?" Long Fei said, "I'm really not lying to you. If you don't believe me, then just stand there and don't move." And then Long Fei lightly said the numbers 9, 8, 7, 0. When a number changed to 0, it was still very quiet. Zhongqi immediately laughed loudly. "Ha ha, ha ha. What the F asterisk asterisk K do you know? And the demon beast? Did you eat it?" Long Fei raised his eyes. Rumble. The mountains howled. A demon beast with a body as black iron pounced forward. The forest howled like the wailing of ghosts. The forest howled like the wailing of ghosts. The huge black shadow fell down heavily, and rubble flew everywhere. 2 enormous beast fists, 1 hammer. Rumble. The earth cracked as a powerful earthquake struck. Everyone was shaking from the shock, and they couldn't even stand properly. The angry elder was knocked onto the ground. He held his head with both hands, and shattered rocks fell on his back. His entire body started to tremble. He was scared out of his wits. Level 6 Demon Beast. Level 6 Demon Beast. Oh my god, it's a black roaring ape king of the 6th rank. A king-level demon beast? What should we do? What do we do now? For a moment, It was a complete mess. Not to mention those stupefied disciples. Even the elders were scared silly. Their faces were pale, and they didn't know what they were going to do. Suddenly, it was too terrifying. He wasn't mentally prepared at all. Roar. Black roaring ape king roared again. The sound waves shook furiously, so loud that it seemed as though his eardrums would burst. The leader of the elders calmed down and said in a loud voice, "Guard, prepare to fight." Many of the elders moved closer to the great elder. Only the trembling elder covered his head with both hands. He was already scared to death, not to mention retaliating. He didn't even have the strength to stand up. Roar! Black roaring ape king roared once again. He's going to attack. He's going to attack, Elder Lu. Hurry and retreat. Faster. The elder with both hands covering his head couldn't hear anything and buried his head into the ground, completely unable to hear what was happening outside. Long Fei said indifferently, "Stupid." Zhao Dahan naively said, "Understood." Bam! Black roaring ape king gave a heavy leap. Walala! It was like a tsunami as it came crashing down towards Elder Lu from above like a mountain. If he was pressured, he probably wouldn't be able to live. Old Lu, Elder Lu, hurry and get out of the way. One by one, the elders shouted. The faces of the disciples that were taking the test all turned pale. Only a few people were calm and collected and weren't frightened by the terrifying scene in front of them. Zhongqi also sneered. Just as Black Roaring Ape King landed on the ground, a figure rose up from the ground. The ground beneath his feet cracked. A depression appeared. Zhao Dahan rushed forward. "Come back. Don't go throw away your life." An elder shouted. Many disciples sneered. "He's simply courting death. Is he tired of living? Go die. Is there something wrong with your head?" If he were to charge forward at this moment, wasn't his head spinning? Even if he wanted to go up, he should have avoided the blade and attacked first. He should have rushed up when the Black Roaring Ape King was attacking. Level 6 Demon Beast was the power of the Master Swordsman rank. A king-level demon beast like this was the peak realm of the Sword Sovereign. Even an early-stage Immortal Swordsman rank wouldn't necessarily be able to withstand the eruption of this kind of demon beast. It was simply courting death. However, in the next second, everyone felt their scalps go numb, because Zhao Dahan suddenly grabbed Black Roaring Ape King's arm, and all the energy in his body exploded out. Boom! A powerful shockwave shot out, exploding into many strength stripes that could be seen with the naked eye. And then, a heavy swing. Walala! A sound of breaking air rang out, and Black Roaring Ape King was directly smashed into the ground by him. Dozens of towering trees collapsed. A deep crater formed on the ground. Black Roaring Ape King was smashed so hard that his head started to sparkle, and a large amount of blood gushed out from his back. He was a little dumbfounded. All the elders stared at Zhao Dahan in a daze. Those disciples who were taking the examination were also stunned. They had even forgotten to breathe, and could only stand there motionlessly as Zhao Dahan stood there foolishly. The person who mocked earlier felt as if he had been slapped in the face by Zhao Dahan. This move was too fierce. That was a level 6 king-level demon beast, and it was overturned just like that. Long Fei also faintly smiled and said, "That's right." Moreover, Zhao Dahan did not use his full strength. If he did, the level 6 Black Roaring Ape King would have probably been killed instantly. At the same time, their gaze tensed up and their fists clenched together. In their hearts, they wanted to catch up to Long Fei and the others. It was a great thrill for them. He used to think that Zhao Dahan was just a little stronger than them, not by much. But now, it seems like the gap between them was too huge. Roar! Black Roaring Ape King roared. He turned his body and suddenly stood up. Its huge body stood in front of Zhao Dahan. At this moment, Zhao Dahan was just like an ant in front of Black Roaring Ape King. However, it looked like it, but in reality, it was the complete opposite. The Black Roaring Ape King was just like an ant in front of Zhao Dahan. Black Roaring Ape King pounded his chest with both fists. With eyes filled with anger, he leaned his body forward and roared at Zhao Dahan. Roar, Zhao Dahan stood in place without moving an inch. After Black Roaring Ape King finished roaring, he dug his ears out, his eyes tensed up, and suddenly shouted, "Ah!" The sound waves were like waves. The strong wind billowed. When Black Roaring Ape King heard this roar, his body suddenly shrunk, and his furious gaze instantly turned into that of a terrified baby. He only had to hold on for a second before he turned around and ran. He didn't dare to stop for even a second. He was extremely afraid. Zhao Dahan contemptuously said, "If you don't leave, I'll take your life." If the back somersault had shocked everyone just now, then this roar made them feel as if they were prostrating themselves on all fours. All of them looked at Zhao Dahan as if he was a monster. At this moment, Elder Lu, whose hands were covering his head, tidied up his appearance and said lightly, "This kind of demon beast is only of the lowest level in the place where you are taking the examination. Don't be arrogant." At the same time, he also looked at Long Fei. Long Fei was startled. Bailey Tianhai smiled faintly and said, "Has the assessment begun?" Long Fei suddenly came to his senses. Every single elder here was an immortal swordsman rank. How could they not be able to react? How could they only know this when the demon beast arrived in front of them? Impossible. In other words, the assessment had already started when they entered the ancient Lime Mountain. What Long Fei saw just now was only a good show to be performed by the guards. The faces of the elders regained their composure as they warned the others. "Count the number of people so that we can continue to move out." Elder Lu walked in front of Zhao Dahan and said, "Boy, you are not bad." Zhao Dahan scratched his head in surprise. "Yeah." Elder Lu also looked at Long Fei and said, "Your sensing ability is not bad. You should be like this in this kind of dangerous place. You can't rely on anyone else at any time. Everyone, keep your spirits up. We are part of the guards, but the ones taking the real test are you guys. You have to be vigilant at all times. Don't wait for the demon beast to get close. By then your reactions will be too slow." Do you understand? The faces of the disciples sank. They had only just realized that this was a play by the guards. It was also at this time. The leading elders said loudly, "Zhao Dahan, score +10. Long Fei went against the elder and kept on ordering him. Long Fei, go against the elder. Don't listen to orders, score. Long Fei, go against the elder. Don't listen to orders, score 10. If there's a next time, the punishment will be doubled." As soon as he finished, Long Fei was stunned. Bailey Tianhai said, "Clan Elder, if not for my brother's reminder, I'm afraid that things would not have ended up like this, right?" Zhao Dahan also said, "That's right. I was also the one who kept on yelling at me to help out. Can I get my score to him?" Long Fei was the first to notice the demon beast approaching. It was he who had ordered Zhao Dahan to attack. But now, he actually wanted to deduct the score. The head elder lightly said, "The score is related to a person's exam results. You can't casually pass it over. In addition, we strictly follow the assessment criteria." He was the first one to discover the demon beast, but he also did not listen to the elder's orders. If we were to keep quiet at the first moment, that Black Roaring Ape King would not be able to discover this place. As they spoke, the elder looked at Long Fei with a stern gaze. Long Fei laughed bitterly and said, "I'll accept the punishment," reduced by 10 points, which meant that Long Fei's current score was negative, which was extremely disadvantageous for a disciple participating in the examination. Bailey Tianhai said anxiously, "Big brother, your score is negative and you will be eliminated almost 100%. Even if you survive these few days safely, you will still be kicked out of the competition." "I protest." Bailey Tianhai spoke out for Long Fei. However, just as he said, "I protest," an elder said in a deep voice, "The protest is ineffective. The score is 10. If you dare to protest again, the punishment will be doubled." Bailey Tianhai's gaze trembled and was about to get angry. It was held back by Long Fei. Elder looked around. Who else wants to protest? Huh? Other than Long Fei's group, the others all secretly laughed to themselves. The score is negative. It's eliminated. Ha ha. Two idiots. The exam had only just started, and it already turned into a negative number. The two of them are already crippled. Still protesting? This fellow's brain must have been filled with water. Didn't he drag himself into the water as well? Ha ha! Many of the surrounding people began to laugh in disdain. If the score was negative, then he would basically be sentenced to death. It should be a rotation. It was impossible to enter the second round of the examination. This was how it was in the past examinations. There hadn't been a single person who had passed the first round of examinations who had received a negative score. Thus, Long Fei and Bailey Tianhai were basically eliminated. Now, they only had to wait for the first round of assessments to end. Zhongqi looked at Long Fei, and the corner of his mouth hooked into a pleased and cold smile, and said, "Serves you right. Be quiet." Elder replied, "Rest for 3 minutes and continue to move out." A moment later, they continued to head deeper into the mountains. Bailey Tianhai said in a low voice, "Big brother, I feel that the outer door presbyter is targeting us." Long Fei smiled faintly. They should also be following the rules. There's no rush first. To him, Long Fei was not really afraid of anything. Bailey Tianhai said, "I need to earn my points back. I just asked around, and since the score is negative, I will be accompanying you in the exam. We're basically going to be eliminated. No one has passed the first round of exams with a negative score yet. Big brother, what should we do next?" A round of swimming was enough to make the egg hurt. Long Fei said, "Don't be anxious. The examination has not ended. Everything has just begun." He wasn't worried. If he could reduce the score, he could add points. Just like Zhao Dahan just now. Didn't he add points as well? For 2 days in a row, from the outer sect to the depths of the ancient mountains. From the beginning, he traveled hundreds of miles a day to now, he walked less than a kilometer an hour. Each time was extremely slow. Quiet. An elder lowered his voice and said solemnly, "Hide your own aura." Everyone lowered their bodies and kept their auras. In the distance, bang, 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 the sound of heavy footsteps came crashing over, as though a demon beast the size of a mountain was moving, causing the area of several kilometers to tremble. Trembling, the elders were each more nervous than the last. They were all frowning and breathing carefully. It wasn't an act. This was true fear. After half an hour, the sound of footsteps had completely disappeared. A few elders then let out a heavy sigh. This guy must be at least a level 8 demon beast king, right? It feels like its aura can crush my heart. It's too unbearable. This place is really not a place that humans can come to. Aren't you afraid that they'll all die if we send them to this place for the assessment? Let alone them. Even we can't survive this. The few elders whispered to each other. During the conversation, he glanced at the disciples taking the exam, just like he was looking at a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. How could such a place survive? It was too difficult. Even the slightest bit of carelessness would cause the demon beast to grind her into mincemeat. The leader of the elders coughed, and the elders who were discussing immediately shut their mouths. The great elder said, "You will soon reach your destination. Like I said, martial artists have no way out. If you want to enter the inner sect, you must accept this harsh test because your abilities are not strong enough. Otherwise, you will be selected during the rookie selection. So do not be afraid. Fear will only weaken you. Powerhouse is fearless. Do you understand?" None of the disciples dared to say it out loud. "Understood. All right. Keep going forward," the great elder lightly said. He could only comfort these disciples because most of them would die here. It was just like what those elders had said. Even if it was them, they wouldn't be able to survive for more than 3 days. There was even less of a need to talk about these disciples. Moreover, they had over 100 people. How big a goal was this? Once they met any king-level demon beast, they would not be able to hold them off. However, this was the test. If you want to enter the inner sect, then you must put in more effort than others. This was the difference between a normal person and a genius. They had entered the inner sect during the genius rookie selection and were only ordinary people. They could only rely on this method to enter the inner sect. It was their only way to get ahead. The group of people moved around like ants. Fortunately, the level 8 demon beast did not return. In this kind of deep mountain, every beast king would have their own domain, so avoiding one demon beast would be a relatively safe place for the rest of the time, unless another one suddenly appeared. Half a day passed. The great elder swallowed with his Adam's apple rolling down his throat. His voice trembled slightly as he said, "Good, good, good. Your destination has arrived." He pointed to a dark valley ahead. At the entrance of the valley stood a wooden tablet. On the wooden tablet, there were 4 big words written on it: "Forbidden area for humans." Clearly, this was not a human word. Clearly, this was not a human word. Otherwise, it would not have been written in such an ugly manner. Furthermore, all of the words were written in the wrong style. The forbidden zone for humans. This is? Yes, yes. Is this the center of this ancient lime mountain? How many humanoid demon beasts are there? The demon emperor, or even the demon emperor? No, I don't want to stay here. I can't stay here. I want to go back. I want to go back now. The forbidden area for humans, the central region of the ancient lime mountain. The dangers of this place could no longer be described with words, as entering would mean death. No human dared to enter this place. Even the inner sect disciples did not dare to enter the ancient antiquity outer sect. Although they weren't here, they were well aware of the dangers of this place. One by one, the disciples started to retreat. His body continued to shrink backwards. Before he entered, his face had already turned pale, as if he was in hell. If he took one step forward, he would fall into the abyss. I want to leave. I want to leave this place. I give up. I give up too. Elder, take us back. I give up the assessment. Is this the inner sect examination? This is telling us to die. We're not going to survive at all. His voice trembled. The few elders communicated with each other through their eyes. The great elder said solemnly, "There is no way out for the martial arts training. If you want to enter the inner sect, you must enter. If you give up this time, you will never be able to enter the inner sect. I'll give you one more chance to choose." He came, but he didn't even give it a try before quitting. Even though the great elder had said this, many disciples still insisted, "I give up." Great elder, you are right. There is no path of retreat for the martial arts training, but the martial arts training has many choices. Giving up the assessment does not mean that there is a path of retreat. I give up too. I give up. I give up. He can't pass the examination at all. For a time, nearly a third of the people gave up on the test. To them, their lives were more important. If entering the inner sect was a life gamble, they would be willing to give up. The great elder's gaze tightened. He didn't think that so many people would leave the exam and felt a bit of heartache. After all, every disciple represented the outer sect's image. Dozens of people had to withdraw from the competition. This was a huge blow to the outer sect's image. However, everyone has their own aspirations. They have the right to choose. With a light voice, he said, "All right, since you've made your choice, I won't force you. You all will follow us back to the ancient antiquity later. Everyone else, get ready. You will enter the valley in 10 minutes. Here, I would like to briefly introduce the criteria for your assessment. The first standard is to live on. The second criterion is still alive. The third criterion is still to live. As long as you come out alive, I can basically say that all of you will pass the first round of examination. Furthermore, training here for 3 days will be of great help to you guys, and when you meet a strong opponent in the future, you can also stay calm, fearless heart. After the great elder finished speaking, he looked at them with a heavy gaze. 10 minutes passed. The head elder said indifferently, "It's time to leave." Many disciples stood up. Amongst the crowd, Zhongqi coldly glanced at Long Fei. His eyes revealed killing intent, and secretly said, "Inside is a huge hunting grounds. Just you wait. I will definitely kill you." The remaining 100 disciples entered the dark valley. When everyone had disappeared into the darkness, the great elder looked at the disciples who had given up the competition and said, "You don't even dare to try. This is not a choice. It is cowardice. All right, take these people back." Deep Valley. Although it was called a valley, it was actually a huge caved-in mountain body. This place was incomparably huge, and one couldn't see the end of it. Clouds and mist shrouded the area as large trees covered the sky. Furthermore, it's easy to get lost once you enter. Even if you have war pets and flying beasts, it's useless here. He could only rely on his feet. I am Zhongqi. Come with me to this side. Follow me. I guarantee that everyone will survive. Zhongqi stood on a rock and spoke loudly. There were already many minions standing around him. It's senior brother Zhong. He has already stepped into the immortal swordsman rank. Let's hurry over. I can't be wrong to follow him. Senior brother Zhong, bring us. Suddenly, dozens of people allied with Zhongqi. More than half of the others were also quickly forming an alliance. In such a dangerous place, they had to gather together in order to be safe and have a chance of survival. In less than 3 minutes, all the disciples had been divided into groups. Other than Long Fei's group, which had a little less people, the other groups had a few dozen people. No one was willing to go with Long Fei. Is there any hope of following someone with a negative score? Zhongqi coldly glanced at Long Fei and laughed. Long Fei, no one wants to take you, right? Kneel down and beg me, and I'll take care of you. The corner of Long Fei's mouth drew back and said, Did you not eat enough sh*t last time? You still want to eat more? Zhongqi's pupils tightened and said solemnly, Brat, don't be too arrogant. As long as you form a team here, you'll have a chance to live on. Do you think that just the few of you can survive here? If you kneel down and beg me now, you still have a chance. Otherwise, all of you will die within a day. Long Fei did not even bother about him. Idiot. Brainless. The smaller the target, the better. The more people the target, the higher the chance of them being discovered. And relying on their master swordsman rank's cultivation, it would be extremely useful. Any one of these 7-rating monster and beasts could make them pee their pants, let alone those of the Demon Emperor realm. The smarter ones would move out alone and quickly find a secluded place to hide. After 3 days, they would come out, survive safely. For example, the sword immortal who had just entered the valley was also the #1 expert of the outer sect. He disappeared the moment he entered the valley. He was the smartest thing to do. Having so many members of the alliance would only let him die even faster. Long Fei said, We will enter the valley and find a temporary base halfway up the mountain. Tianhai and I scored negative. We had to find a way to supplement our scores. Bailey Tianhai nodded his head and said, Big brother, could it be that we are also acting here? It's only an inner court test. Do you have to let me take the test in such a dangerous place? Long Fei said, This time, it doesn't seem like it. Whether we are or not, we cannot let our guard down. You idiot, pave the way. Yin Shi, you behind us. The 5 elements are in the middle. I'll take care of everything. Don't panic when you encounter the mission demon beast. Do you understand? Everyone nodded. Long Fei said solemnly, All right, let's go. In the distance, the corner of Zhongqi's eyes slightly narrowed. With a flip of his right hand, a dozen bugs that were as small as flies appeared. With a light tone, he said, Watch them. Buzz, buzz. A dozen or so bugs quickly flew out and disappeared into the darkness. In another place, a pair of dark and cold eyes coldly said, The target has appeared. The valley was huge, and finding a safe place to hide was not that easy. Long Fei and the group of 10 walked forward very slowly. This was because this was the central center of the ancient Lime Mountain. The demon beast that appeared here were not ordinary demon beast, but those kind of spirit demon king, the supreme spirit demon emperor level demon beast. If they found out, actually, they had already discovered it. He just didn't make a move. Deep in the valley, in a dark demon building, the pagoda was divided into 9 floors, and each floor had a different shape. There were hexagram, runes, and even a domineering skeleton. The 9th floor was shaped like a giant ant's nest. This was the center of the ancient Lime Mountain. This was the center of power that controlled the entire ancient Lime Mountain. The 9th floor, a young man dressed in a purple and gold robe. He had a pair of white eyes, and his entire body exuded an irresistible demonic aura. The corner of his mouth slightly curled up, revealing an ice-cold smile. Ancient antiquity. Seems like he really is pushing his luck even further. They actually managed to get their hands on my doorstep in the intersect examination? Do they really think that the demons of the ancient Lime Mountain are nothing more than turnips in front of my door? If you want to step on it, you can. If you want to, you can pull it out. The man's pupils constricted as white meridians appeared from the corners of his eyes. He looked like a member of the Chinese and Japanese families. A pair of white pupils filled with power, while the corners of his eyes were filled with meridians. At this moment, the entire valley was under his gaze as he watched. The position of each disciple, the movements of each disciple, and the words spoken by each disciple. He could feel it all. Just this bunch of muggle. The highest cultivation is only immortal swordsman rank. Is this group of people sent by fire arrogant God to die? The man said coldly. With a single glance, he could tell that everyone's cultivation base was beneath his nose. Not a single one fled. The fire arrogant God he mentioned was also the current sect master of the ancient antiquity. I wonder why the ancient antiquities intersect examination will be placed on our doorstep this year. What is fire arrogant God's intention? Send our disciples to our doorstep for us to kill? How can it be possible for him to be like this? Or could it be that he wants to temper these muggle? Training here? Aren't you asking for a beating? An old man with his back hunched and holding a black wooden walking stick said lightly. This was the ancient Lime Mountain. It was also within the domain of the ancient antiquity. Fire arrogant God had always been a heavy stone on top of the heads of Demon Clan. The ancient antiquities sect master was a super powerhouse of the Emperor's swordsman rank. None of the demon race could match him. So, for the past few years, the monster race had been hiding like a tortoise. However, even if they were afraid of the fire arrogant God, right now, ancient antiquity was bullying them at the door. How could he tolerate this? Indeed, he could not tolerate it. This was also why demon kings from many demon clan tribes would appear in the demon towers. Is fire arrogant God testing us? You want to know the bottom line of our tolerance? Another burly man who looked like a tiger said in a deep voice. His two eyes were like those of a tiger's before they had even evolved. Who cares? Since he dares to send his disciple over, don't blame us for being impolite. You're right. Do you really think we're afraid of him? Everyone said angrily. At this time, one of the elders coughed and said, Then what about the peace agreement signed with the fire arrogant God? Have you considered this? They're only here for the assessment to gain experience, not to take action against the monster race. If they really did take action, we could counterattack, but now it's just the assessment. So, the old man looked up and said indifferently, Since fire arrogant God wants to test our bottom line, then we will also test his bottom line. If the ancient antiquity can take the examination, then we demi-humans can also take the examination. Everyone's eyes lit up. The purple-robed man said excitedly, Great Elder, do you mean to say that the elites of our tribe should be brought over and placed in the valley for the examination? The elder said lightly, That is not necessary. These disciples are just outer disciples. Their cultivation base is too weak. They are not qualified enough to be the elites of our clans. I think we should summon the surrounding demon kings. Give them a chance. Whoever kills more disciples will have the qualifications to enter the demon towers to cultivate. As soon as he finished, the entire palace was in an uproar. This is a good idea. We're going to turn this place into a killing field. Wrong. It's a battle of slaughter. It's too easy for a spirit demon king level demon beast to deal with these muggle people. Ha ha. At that time, even if the fire arrogant God were to go after us, we can just push it away. How brilliant. The goblin tribe was the goblin tribe, and the demon beast was the demon beast. What could be called a demon was the evolution of demon beast. The spirit demon race was of a higher level than the demon beast. The goblin tribe could command demon beast S, Demon beasts only have the qualification to advance further after reaching king level, and this step requires the approval of the spirit demon race. Every single demon king had been waiting for this kind of opportunity their entire lives. After the monster race announced this mission, all the demon kings within 1,000,000 kilometers will gather here in less than half a day. A massacre. Long Fei frowned. He crouched down and stared into the depths of the valley. The people behind him all lowered their bodies, quietly waiting. After a long time, Bailey Tianhai then asked in a low voice, "Big brother, what's wrong?" Long Fei did not give a reason for his sudden halt. Long Fei shook his head and said, "I feel like I'm being watched by one person, as if all of us are exposed to that one person's eyes." Zhao Dahan said, "Why don't I feel it?" Brothers of Five Elements said in unison, "I don't feel it either." Long Fei looked at Yin Shi, who shrugged and said, "You should ask her." Yin Shi looked to the Phoenix. Phoenix giggled and said, "Husband's lord." Long Fei gave her a glance and said, "You little girl, what do you think you can feel?" Not giving Phoenix the chance to speak. Long Fei's goal. Even now, Long Fei still did not know. Even if Yin Shi knew that the Phoenix was not simple, he still could not expose everything it had. Phoenix pursed her lips. Yin Shi laughed and said, "I do not have any ill intentions." Long Fei also did not explain and said, "She's just a little girl. What else can she know?" However, from Phoenix's eyes, Long Fei could tell that his senses were right. Just now, someone had been staring at him. Not just him, everyone in the valley. Who was this person? Was it a demon emperor-level boss? Long Fei swallowed it all. When he thought of the boss, he could not help but get excited. The three things that made Long Fei the most excited were leveling up, Pa, killing the boss. The three things that made Long Fei the most excited were leveling up, Pa, killing the boss. This was especially true for bosses. It was an indescribable feeling, because you didn't know what the boss would drop. Many people played the game. Killing bosses every day was the most important part of it. When Long Fei thought about this Demon Emperor level boss in the valley, he became excited as if he had been injected with chicken blood. Haha, there's definitely no lack of bosses. I'll settle down the brothers first, then I'll go fight the boss alone. Long Fei's mouth curved upwards, revealing an excited smile. The group of 10 continued to search for a safe place to hide. After half a day, the entire valley was quiet, and not a single bird could be heard, let alone a demon beast. Not a single rabbit. This made many disciples fiercely heave a sigh of relief. Ha! Looks like this is the only place. It's not as scary as the rumors say. Those who give up would probably regret it if they knew the situation inside. This is fate. You're right, this is fate. The group of people chatted and laughed, gradually lowering their vigilance towards the surroundings. Zhongqi said heavily, "Don't let your guard down. Hurry up and dig out the bunker." "Senior brother Zhong, there isn't even a single bird here. What kind of demon beast are you worried about? Demon Emperor? If I knew we were coming, I think I'd be scared off." "Ha! Forbidden human territory? Who are you trying to scare?" "Ha!" Everyone laughed. Zhongqi and the idea shrank from 10 kilometers away. It was really too strange that it could not feel any of the demon beast chi at all. However, he couldn't find the reason. It was as if this place wasn't the central hinterland. Zhongqi's guard was lowered by a lot. At this moment, all of the regiments lowered their guard, letting their guard down. The underground bunker project, prepared by many people, also began to slow down. Without demon beast, what kind of fortification would they need to do? Only Long Fei. Halfway up the mountain, there was a natural cave. The cave could hold around 20 to 30 people, so it was very comfortable if there were 10 of them. However, this kind of cave would be destroyed by a single punch from a demon beast if discovered. Therefore, what Long Fei needed to do was to disguise this cave. There are more dried leaves here. Try to be natural. I need to collect more. Long Fei commanded. This was the central hinterland. It was impossible for there to be no demon beast here. If there were no demon beast, there would at least be some small-sized beasts, but there was nothing here, just like a forbidden area. This was too abnormal. Adding to the fact that he was staring at all of them, Long Fei knew that there must be something going on in this valley. Before the demon beast appeared, what Long Fei needed to do was to find a good hiding place. Try to keep your life. After a while, if one did not observe closely, one would not be able to recognize that this was a cave. Within the cave, Brothers of Five Elements was already cultivating. They had all swallowed up the Five Elements rare source stone, and, together with the incantation Long Fei gave them, they were slowly awakening the power of the Five Elements in their bodies. Bailey Tianhai and Zhao Dahen meditated to recover their profound qi. The phoenix nestled in a Long Fei's embrace, its small mouth pouting, "My honey, my stomach is so hungry. I really want to eat barbecue." She glanced at the phoenix with some astonishment. Long Fei said, "Just bear with it for the next few days. When the first stage of the examination is over, I will treat you to a big meal." Phoenix's eyes immediately shone with a golden light. "Really?" Long Fei nodded and said, "Amen." Phoenix giggled and said, "My honey is so good." Long Fei laughed and gently patted the phoenix's back. The phoenix also slowly closed its eyes and fell asleep. In the entire cave, only Long Fei and Yun were left with their eyes wide open. Long Fei said, "Take a rest first. I'll come watch tonight." She leaned on the rock and stared at Long Fei. Long Fei said, "Don't worry, I won't do anything to you." She rolled his eyes at Long Fei. Long Fei said sinisterly, "I prefer to push things backwards. Why have you thought it through? You can pounce on me." "Hee hee." She said coldly, "Rascal." Long Fei said, "Hee hee, when the time comes, you'll call me good big brother." Shi's eyes turned cold. After assaulting Shi a few times, Shi was no longer willing to cooperate. Long Fei looked at the night sky outside the cave and said, "There shouldn't be anything happening tonight. It's hard to say tomorrow morning." Shi said, "This afternoon, I also felt that special gaze. According to the classification of the world of mortal world, it should be King Swordsman and almost entered the Emperor Swordsman rank. It's the pinnacle powerhouse in the mortal world. Don't be silly." Shi reminded Long Fei. He did not want him to risk his life again. Long Fei laughed. "Seems like you have already fallen in love with me. Or else why would you be so concerned about me? Are you afraid that I will die?" Shi's eyes regained its coldness as he stared at Long Fei, as if he was going to tear Long Fei into two. Long Fei did not continue to tease Shi. He muttered under his breath, "If even the gods want to do it, what kind of trash would a mere peak of the Demon Emperor be?" Shi said, "You are a reincarnated person. You need to experience the experience, walk the path of cultivation again, and not experience the endless amount of strength you gained in your past life. This will not benefit your cultivation at all." The way she spoke was as if Long Fei had just opened his mouth. Indeed, he was just opening up a trap, and it was not just a trap. Other than the power of the ancient dragon body, he also had an even more awesome trap system. Strength from my previous life? Long Fei smiled. What was his previous life? He was just an ordinary otaku from Earth. What kind of power could he have? As for Long Batian, he felt that he wouldn't admit that he was Long Batian. He was Long Fei. It was not a reincarnation of anyone. Not now, not in the future. The Demon Race Valley was completely silent. It was quieter than the night in ancient antiquity. During this entire day, he did not encounter any dangers, nor did he encounter any demon beast. He treated this place like it was a vacation place. However, outside the valley, a large group of people had already gathered. Boom, boom, rumble, rumble. The sound of footsteps shook the skies as all the demonic kings who were rushing over from every direction gathered together. No matter how loud the commotion was, not a single sound could be heard from the valley. The sound outside the valley was blocked. Every single one of them was a horde leader-level existence. In the past, when they met each other, they had fought like madmen. But now, they were like an army gathering together. Their gazes were fixed on the valley. It was as if there was someone in the valley that had killed their father. Whoever killed more humans would have the qualifications to enter the Demon Tower, to cultivate and transform into a human. There were hundreds of them. This battle, terrifying to the extreme. At this moment, they were waiting for the dawn. The sky was dim, and the entire valley was silent. The sky was dim, and the entire valley was silent. None of the birds or insects made sound. It was as if he was living in a quiet world. Silence. In this sort of place, it was actually the most worrisome. How could the center of the monster race be so quiet? But many disciples did not notice this. They were all thinking in a positive light. They thought that they would be able to live here comfortably for 3 days, and even if they passed the first round of the assessment, they would still be able to pass. How pleasant it was. In fact, even if a lot of disciples were to stay vigilant around here, they would not be able to hear a single sound from a demon beast for the whole night, so they would still relax. He didn't care. They also had the thought that they were lucky. Maybe there really were no demon beast here, until the sky was white in the east, and a glimmer of light rose from the horizon. To the outer sect disciples inside the valley, it was still night, and they couldn't see their hands even though it was night. But to the monster army gathered outside the valley, it was already dawn. Ugh, do. A demon beast high up in the sky suddenly let out a howling sound. Boom, 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 boom. One by one, the demon kings opened their eyes, just like a heavy ship turning on its light. Under the dim light of the night, their eyes glowed with a deep green light. Every single one of them was emitting a strong sense of power. This was a primitive beast nature, and a strong sense of brutality was being released crazily from their bodies. Do. Another sound. In that instant, the demon beast stood up and took a heavy step forward. Rumble. There was an explosion, and the area within hundreds of kilometers began to tremble. However, no such sound could be heard in the valley. It was as if the inside and outside of the valley were two completely different worlds. The valley was still peaceful and quiet, and the outer court disciples were all sleeping soundly as they dreamed of entering the inner court. No one knew that there were tens of thousands of demon beasts gathered outside the valley. Do. A third voice rang out. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. He took a deep breath and moved like thunder. The demon beast at the very front started to move, increasing its speed. As it stared at the valley, it seemed to transform into a heavy tank as it fearlessly charged forward. Kacha! Walala! The towering tree had been smashed apart and uprooted. The scene was a mess, as if the world had been destroyed. The moment they rushed into the valley, the sound exploded. The originally silent valley seemed to explode in an instant. Bang, bang. Boom, boom, boom. Hearing the loud noise, many disciples woke up from their beautiful dreams. He stretched lazily and said with blurred vision, "What is that sound? So noisy. Are you even letting me sleep? Who is it? It's not even dawn yet. Is there still any morals? Who the hell wants to die?" Many people complained. However, as the footsteps got louder and louder, the ground started to shake. Only then did they suddenly wake up, and their tongues were even trembling. Is it the demon beast? Demon beast. Has the demon beast come yet? Faster. It's the demon beast. Rumble. When they finally reacted, an ancient mammoth appeared in front of them. It had a towering tree wrapped around its nose. Several disciples were so scared that their faces were as white as paper. They dared not to move as their lips turned purple. They raised their heads to look at the ancient mammoth above their heads. Boom! The giant elephant's nose rolled up the towering tree. No, 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 no. Rumble! The towering tree crashed to the ground. One person let out a pig-slaughtering howl, and the scream abruptly stopped. Several people's corpses exploded, and their bodies were smashed into pieces by the giant tree, flying away. In the midst of this miserable scream, the examinees were all jolted awake. But it was already too late. Almost all the gathered demon beasts rushed into the valley. In the first wave of attack, just now, dozens of disciples died without even being able to react. Moreover, all of them had died miserable deaths. His body was basically smashed into mincemeat, and his broken limbs were everywhere. In the demon pavilion, the purple-robed man revealed a smirk. Ha! The slaughter has begun. A massacre. Ha! If his fire-arrogant god can get our disciple to take the examination on our doorstep, then we can also take the examination, ha! I wonder how many of them will die this time. How many will die? They should all die here, ha-ha. Everyone laughed. Furthermore, with their physique, it could be said that these outer sect examination disciples were not a match for these spirit demon kings. Then again, the number of demon kings was twice that of the disciples taking the exam. How could they fight like this? There was no place to hide, even if you wanted to. No matter if it is the sky or the ground, there is nowhere for you to hide. This was because there were all kinds of demon beasts. Bunker, quick! Hide in the bunker. The bunker is safe. We can't find these demon beasts. When they entered the bunker, they saw a circle of people curling up and shivering, but they were relieved when they saw that the demon beast's roars were getting farther and farther away. But, gulp, the sound of the ground cracking could be heard. Crack! A deep pit appeared in the bunker. A pangolin beast covered entirely in fine steel spurs suddenly dug out from the ground, its eyes gleaming with a green light. Ah! A blood-curdling screech rang out. The whole bunker sank in. Each and every one of the outer sect disciples who fell into the deep pit had their bodies pierced by spurs S, and the deep pit was a gigantic trap. The spurs S on those outer sect disciples who were still alive flew out. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Every one of the spurs S had hit the outer sect disciple in the forehead, and were like nails that were nailed to the wall. The armored giant beast scanned the area with its eyes and confirmed that there was no one alive in the bunker. It turned its body around, turned into a top, and disappeared into the ground. Up the tree. Jump between the trees. Using dense leaves to dodge. Faster. Several disciples leapt up onto the trees and then rapidly jumped between the trees. This method allowed one to evade the attacks of the demon beast underground, and also allowed one to evade the attacks of the demon beastess that were on the ground. Each towering tree was over 100 meters tall, and the ground was dimly lit, so it was impossible to see them at first sight. However, while they were moving, bam, a large net covered everything. One of the disciples struggled for a while, but could not move at all. His entire body was stuck. There's a sticky net. Senior brother, quickly come and save me. A huge spiderweb. When the disciples saw the change in their expressions, none of them went up to save her, but instead, they quickly made a detour. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Several white threads were shot out, and they all hit the target. Then with a single breath, several outer sect disciples were pulled into the net, like lambs waiting to be slaughtered. At this moment, a giant spider with flower patterns all over its body crawled out, its two fangs glowing with a dark green light. At this moment, a giant spider with flower patterns all over its body crawled out, its two fangs glowing with a dark green light, a head that resembled a human face. It was like releasing a cold smile. Seeing this scene, those disciples frantically struggled, trying to break free. However, the spider's eyes swept over them, and a spider web shot out from its mouth. It directly bound a disciple, and then the sharp claws pierced forward. The disciple no longer moved. He was killed instantly. Help! Help! I give up the exam. I give up. I don't want to join the inner sect anymore. Please, let me go. I want to go home. I want to go to my mother. Woo-woo. All of them fell into despair. But there was no turning back on the martial arts training. From the moment they stepped into the valley to be examined, they had no way out. Life is like this. As they cried for help, spider webs sprayed out, binding them and killing them. In the sky and on the ground, there was nowhere to hide. All the disciples were like stray dogs, hiding and hiding. But no matter where they went, they would always encounter strong demon beasts. The difference in strength was too great. They had no way to fight back. Furthermore, there were too many demon beasts, so they could not deal with them. Demon beast ran amok with unstoppable momentum. The outer sect disciples of the ancient antiquity were defeated, and countless died. After a short exchange, the outer court disciples were already unable to hold on. Over half of them had died. Ha! A bunch of ants dare to take the test on our doorstep? Humph! Fire, arrogant god. Do you really think that the disciples of your ancient antiquity are that strong? In my opinion, they are just a bunch of trash. Ha! In the demon building, all the humanoid demon beasts laughed out wildly. They had all seen what had just happened in the valley. This was a slaughter, and there wasn't even a hint of resistance. Humans only know how to run. They don't even have any strength at all. Humans are born cowardly. When we, the demon emperor, come out of seclusion and defeat the fire arrogant god, the billions of kilometers of land would be ours. Ha ha. You're right. As long as Lord Demon Emperor has comprehended the formless emperor technique, then the fire arrogant god is definitely not a match for him. The humiliation from last time can be messed with. When the time comes, I will be the vanguard and kill everyone in ancient antiquity. Killing intent filled the eyes of the purple-robed man. A thick killing intent. Her white eyes swept the area. Suddenly, he saw a spot on the hillside on the right side of the valley. So smart. If I didn't know the art of Eye of Darkness, I wouldn't have been able to discover this place. In his eyes, there were 10 people hiding in the cave. If it wasn't for the strength of his white pupils, he would never have noticed this place with his naked eyes. It was too secretive. His aura was also extremely weak, which could not be detected by the spirit demon king realm demon beast. The corner of the purple-robed man's mouth curled up as he sneered. No matter where you hide, it's useless. You will all die. All of you will die. And then, his idea slightly moved. In the valley, a purple python with a phoenix tail suddenly changed its direction and directly attacked the hillside. The purple-robed man laughed coldly. Where are you hiding? Just wait for your death. On the hillside, within a hidden cave, Long Fei's eyes were like an eagle's as he observed his surroundings. Starting from dawn, he was the first to find out about the demon beast entering the valley. He knew very well. How could it be safe in the middle of a demon clan's territory? Hearing the demon beast's roars and the human screams from within the valley, Long Fei knew that this time, the outer court disciple who had received the monster siege had suffered a crushing defeat. A lot of people died, right? Phoenix muttered. Long Fei nodded his head and said, yes, quite a lot of them died. Phoenix's expression was slightly downcast. Her pupils gently changed as she asked in a low voice, why would someone die? Long Fei looked at the phoenix. Yun, she said indifferently, survival of the fittest, survival of the powerhouse, whether here or in the divine space. These are all rules of survival. It is the same between people, before demons and before demons, before gods and before gods, and even before races. The powerhouse is the king, no matter what race you are from. Death is something that every race has to face. This was reality. Long Fei thought so too, but he did not say anything because he cared about the feeling of the phoenix. Long Fei said indifferently, girl, do you want them all to live? Phoenix raised her head, looked at Long Fei, and said, my honey, I don't care what is happening outside. I only care about you. Hee. Long Fei cared about the phoenix, and the phoenix also cared about Long Fei. It was a mess outside. Demon beast wreaked havoc, and if they were to go out at this time, they would simply be throwing their lives away. She didn't want Long Fei to take the risk. Long Fei smiled lightly. Silly girl, there is no one in this world who can kill me. Wait here. Long Fei stood up. It was also at this time. Bailey Tianhai and Zhao Dehan immediately stood up and said at the same time, big brother, I will go with you. Long Fei said, all of you stay here and cultivate. I find that the power of the holy source is extremely abundant and will be of great help to your cultivations. The phoenix also pulled at the corner of Long Fei's clothes and said, my honey, don't go. I was wrong just now. Just like what Big Sister Yinshi said, survival of the fittest is the law of survival of the fittest. I shouldn't have said something like that. Long Fei smiled lightly and said, there are some things that I shouldn't do. How would I know if that's impossible? Don't worry. I will. Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Long Fei suddenly frowned. Yunshi also smiled faintly and said, "There's no need for you to go out. There's already people heading this way." How strange. Logically speaking, although these monster kings are very strong, their intelligence isn't high. They shouldn't know of this place. Could it be? Long Fei did not continue and said, "Since you're already here, let's start with this." Long Fei walked out of the cave. At this moment, the purple-crowned phoenix tail python pounced like a bolt of lightning, instantly pouncing in front of Long Fei. It twisted its body, and the front half of its body suddenly stood up, in a superior position, directly swallowing down Long Fei. Long Fei slightly lifted both his eyes, smirked, and said indifferently, "I'll start from you. 3-rate ancient dragon body. Open." The aura on its body abruptly changed, and a dragon's roar erupted. The surrounding space trembled, and upon hearing this dragon roar, the body of the violet-crowned phoenix-tailed python trembled slightly. At this moment, Long Fei disappeared in place. The giant python slightly panicked as it looked around. In the air, Long Fei held the great sword on his shoulder, his lips curled slightly, and laughed. "I am here." The giant python's eyes narrowed, and a poisonous mist was about to shoot out from its mouth. However, the great sword on Long Fei's shoulder moved. Holding onto it with both of his hands, he cut down heavily. Walala! Explode! It furiously slashed down. It furiously slashed down. The sword broke into 2 halves. The purple-crowned phoenix tail python's body was split into 2. The blood groove above its head instantly turned into 0. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing the purple-crowned phoenix tail python. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining purple crown heart. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining purple crown phoenix tail python spirit blood. Do you wish to swallow it? 1 sword kill. When Long Fei landed, the system beep was already over. Without looking back, he strode down the hill. Rumble! The body of the snake collapsed as blood splattered all over the ground. "So powerful," Yunshi said softly. "After not seeing her for 1 night, my power has increased a little. Is the dragon race's talent so abnormal? Why didn't you notice it before?" The dragon race's innate skills were not particularly strong in the divine space. If they were strong, they wouldn't have been wiped out. Phoenix giggled and said, "Big sister Yunshi, my husband is handsome, right?" Hee hee. Yunshi looked at Phoenix and asked, "How did you meet him, or have you always been by his side?" A dragon and a phoenix. In the primordial era of the divine space, there were 2 great families that were related by marriage. It was just that after the fall of Long Batian, the dragon clan had slowly declined, and various powerhouses went to challenge the Dragon Vein Mountain. Nearly every time the dragon clan was defeated, they would cut the ground to compensate for the loss, and the Phoenix clan would have been implicated. If not for the Phoenix clan constantly helping the dragon clan, their decline would have been even faster. However, even with the help of the Phoenix clan, it was unable to withstand the changes in time. Years passed. After a year and a year, the relationship between the 2 races slowly faded. In the billions of years of time, there were practically no more marriages between the Phoenix and dragon races. 1 dragon and 1 phoenix were together. This was the first time she had ever seen one. Phoenix smiled and said, "I've always been by my honey's side. I feel like I know him in my previous life, no? To be exact, I should have met him in his previous life." This feeling had existed since the first time she saw Long Fei. Yunshi gave a shallow smile and said, "You too. Is it to be a marriage alliance between dragons and phoenixes?" Phoenix smiled and said, "I will definitely marry him." Yunshi asked, "Would the elders of your Phoenix clan agree? Do you know what happened to the dragons?" The dragon race of the Dragon Vein Mountain were exterminated in 1 move by the Emperor Xian, and there were less than 10 people of the dragon race in the divine space. The dragon clan was in a precarious situation. At any moment, they could be exterminated forever. No matter how strong Long Fei was, what could he do? A single person to support the entire dragon race. It might have been possible in the past, but now, the chances of that happening were close to zero. Everyone in the divine space knew the power of the Emperor Xian. He was backed by an alien power, and his rise to power was due to the support of an alien power. Long Beixian's death was also because of the foreign forces. Long Fei wanted the dragon race to rise in power, so the Emperor Xian was an insurmountable mountain. If the dragon race was already like this, how could the divine phoenix race marry each other? Isn't that the same as including the entire phoenix race? Definitely not. She knew what was happening in the Dragon Vein Mountain. It was because she was so stubborn that she wanted to go to the Dragon Vein Mountain to find the person in her heart, causing her to be found out and be hunted down. She also knew that the Divine Phoenix clan would not allow her to be with Long Fei. However, she believed in Long Fei, and she believed in herself. They would definitely be together. Rumble, a woo. With a loud wail, another spirit demon king demon beast was killed. Phoenix recovered her expression. Her face revealed a cute smile and said, "No matter what happens, I will always be with my honey." Yin, she was slightly stunned, but in the end he also laughed and thought to himself, "Long Fei, just how charismatic are you?" Yin, she did not think too much about it. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Within the valley, rumbling sounds could be heard as the spirit demon king demon beast kept attacking. All sorts of crushing blows. Long Fei jumped up heavily and landed on top of a demon beast's head. With a move of his great treasure sword, he directly pierced into the brain of the spirit demon king demon beast. Awoo! With a wail, the demon beast's body fell from midair. Long Fei's gaze swept across the place and shouted, "All of you, come to me." Bang, bang, bang. From the forest, the ancient mammoth dashed out at an astonishing speed. Wherever it went, trees that reached the sky would be smashed apart. The long elephant nose rolled up. A towering tree was uprooted by it, and with a push of its legs, it leaped up. It was a black mass, and the enormous elephant seemed to have flown up. The shadow pressed down. That towering tree smashed towards Long Fei like a hammer. Walala, walala. Space itself seemed to distort. In the demon pavilion, the purple-robed man stared at Long Fei. Long Fei consecutively killed a few spirit demon king demon beasts, made him extremely unhappy. Seeing the ancient mammoths make a move, he laughed coldly. "This time you definitely won't be able to live." The ancient giant elephant was considered one of the best demon beasts amongst the Goblin King. The strength of its huge elephant was extremely brutal. In addition, the defense on his body was also abnormally strong. Let alone a towering tree. Even if it was a rock mountain, he would still be able to forcibly knock it off. Just wait for death. Waves of pressure from the Demon King descended. It was as if invisible powers were surging into his mind. This kind of pressure was very strong. If it was a master swordsman rank warrior, he would be crushed to the point that he could not even move. But who is he? With the ancient dragon body on his body, this kind of mere pressure had no effect on him at all. Not to mention being unable to move, it was even weaker than tickling. He watched as the towering tree smashed down at him, his body sinking slightly. Whoosh! He took a step into the air and waved the great sword a few times. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The sword chi burst out, cutting the towering tree into several pieces. It didn't have the slightest bit of strength and immediately scattered in all directions. The ancient mammoth let out an angry roar, and the giant elephant runes on its body started glowing. Roar! Mighty elephant stomp! The gigantic elephant leg in the air trampled down heavily on Long Fei, who was flying towards it. Crash! Crash! Rumble! The trampling power was like the rumbling of thunder. One after another, visible glows of energy shot towards Long Fei. Bang, bang, bang. Every sound caused space to distort. The entire valley was filled with the power of the shockwave. Many people raised their heads to look at Long Fei. "I'm going to die now. Is he sick? I'm going to die. Even if he wants to die, don't drag us down, The consequences of angering this demon king is unimaginable. This guy is a scourge. Many people hated Long Fei. Long Fei was helping them. It was one thing if they didn't know how to be grateful, but why did he scold them with contempt? This was the human heart. However, Long Fei did not care about all these. He wasn't fighting for the outer sect disciples. He was fighting for the phoenix. Facing the mighty elephant stomp, Long Fei's pupils changed. Rank 4 dragon body, open. The power of the 3-rate dragon body was enough. The power of the 3-rate dragon body was enough. But a stomp would result in a stomp that was even more thorough. Would never waste energy to use 2 moves if he could do one. The 3-rate dragon body might not be able to instantly kill the ancient Big Bang, but a level 4 ancient dragon body. That was different. Level 4 ancient dragon body, open. Boom! With a roar of the energy in his body, strength stripes shot out one after another. Their entire bodies were suffused with the aura of dragons. He let the power of the ancient mammoth stomp onto his body. Boom! Boom! The strength of the mighty elephant stomp did not cause the slightest bit of damage on his body. An invisible air shield blocked all of the damage on his body. Whoosh! With a step in the air, Long Fei's body became like a sword image, flying straight up into the air. Under the sunlight, a black shadow slashed down. Die! As the sword fell, it transformed into a dragon-shaped sword chi. The sword energy slashed out angrily. The body of the ancient mammoth emitted a faint glow. Long Fei landed on the ground. He sheathed his sword. The ancient mammoth's body trembled slightly as its eyes widened in fury. Waves of hoarse roars came out of its throat, and before it could even utter a word, its body suddenly ruptured. Crash! With a sound, his body split into 2, blood, organs surging out. His huge body fell down, landing on Long Fei's 2 sides. Boom, boom! A deep crater formed on the ground. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Ancient Giant Elephant Demon King. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Ancient Giant Ivory. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Mighty Elephant Stomp. This kind of thing was not high enough. Long Fei did not even look at its attributes. He swept the area with his gaze. Long Fei coldly snorted and said, "Do you think humans are easy to bully? You are actually thinking highly of your demon clan by taking the test here. Why are you not showing your face? If you have the ability, then come at me. See how I'll take care of you beasts." After Long Fei finished speaking, the restless surroundings suddenly quietened down. His words were too arrogant. Although the intelligence of these spirit demon kings were not high, they were able to understand Long Fei's words and were very clear on the meaning behind them. Long Fei was looking down on them. This caused all of them to be filled with rage. Not just them. The demon emperors on the demon tower were also furious. This is too arrogant. Who does he think he is? Even the fire-arrogant god would not dare to be so arrogant. A mere outer sect examination disciple dares to be so presumptuous. What does he think of our demon valley? What do you take us demi-humans for? Elder, let me give him 2 ears. Let us demons teach him how to conduct himself. I'll go too. All of them were filled with righteous indignation. S words made him extremely angry. If the ancient antiquity of the ancient antiquity had said such words, they would have accepted it as well. However, the person who said those words was just an outer sect examination disciple. They really did not place their demon clan in their eyes. Just as the elder was about to speak, he noticed that the purple-robed man had disappeared. The great elder frowned. What about the ancient regions? Everyone's gaze swept across the area and discovered that the ancient regions had already disappeared when they were still in a fit of rage. Let him go. Let him teach this kid a lesson. Let's see how arrogant he can be. Will something happen to the Elders Guild? After all, the peace agreement. Who asked him to be so arrogant? With the agreement, logically speaking, they could not use the powerhouse S of the Demon Emperor realm, but they could not tolerate Long Fei's words. Demi-humans were naturally very irritable and easily angered. Long Fei treated the spirit demon race as animals and said that the spirit demon race was a bunch of scum. The purple robe man was the first to be unable to endure. In the forest around Long Fei, a pair of ghastly green eyes opened. Their pupils slowly changed, turning into something like a ball of flame. He was furious. All of them were infuriated. Moreover, he had instantly entered a berserk state. The corner of Long Fei's mouth hooked up as he said lightly, "Come, don't hide anymore. Give me as much as you have, and I'll pack it up together. Don't waste my time." Bam! A towering tree suddenly fell down, smashing straight towards Long Fei. And at this moment, all the Goblin King-level demon beasts in the surroundings rushed out, instantly filling the sky with sand, and their footsteps made the entire valley tremble. Within the cave, Bailey Tianhai and Zhao Dehan could not sit still. The two of them rushed out of the cave. Phoenix wanted to go out, but was stopped by Yunxi and said, "He won't let you out. We'll stay here." "Don't worry, he'll be fine," Phoenix said. "I know, I just want to see more of my honey's handsome look, hee." Yunxi laughed. "Anyway, I can see it every day." "Can you see it every day?" Phoenix's voice was somewhat low, but her heart secretly tightened. She then raised her head to look outside the cave and said, "That's right, I can see it every day." Spirit Demon Kings rushed at Long Fei, revealing fangs, venom, or a strong physique. They exploded forth with their strongest power. He wanted to crush Long Fei to pieces. He had to let Long Fei know that there was a price to be paid to act so arrogantly in the Goblin tribe. Suddenly, Long Fei had dozens of demon beasts around him. In the sky and on the ground, they surrounded him from all directions. Right now, Long Fei had no way of escaping. Of course, he did not want to escape either. The great sword moved. With a slight raise of his forehead, he let out a light breath. The aura of a rank 4 dragon instantly exploded, and his robe fluttered. Walala! Walala! His body was burning with power, and streams of white smoke shot out. His hair was also swaying towards the sky. He took a step forward. Long Fei said solemnly, "Ascending Dragon, Tyrant WIRM, all of you must die." The sword moved like a madman. After a few swings, the sword move suddenly changed. It rose up abruptly from the ground, as if it was a sword move. At this moment, the demon beast that fell to the ground was penetrated by the powerful sword chi and instantly killed. The sword chi broke through the ground and formed many super tyrant WIRMs. Roar! 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 Eating one mouthful after another was like eating a little chick. Those extremely vicious demon beasts, those who had been in a state of fury, were all swallowed by Long Fei's sword energy, the tyrant WIRM. These demon beasts did not even have time to react. Instant kill. In just 3 seconds. Bang, bang, bang. Dozens of demon beasts fell from the sky, each in a state of death. In the blink of an eye, it became like a small mountain. The system beep also crazily sounded. Long Fei swept his gaze across them and laughed coldly. Who else? The herd of oxen were crushed like dried weeds. There were also some demon beasts that retreated in fright, not daring to advance. Scum! Long Fei laughed in disdain. And it was also at this moment that his brows secretly tightened and his face went gloomy. A ball of aura swiftly forced its way in. A ball of aura swiftly forced its way in. This aura, Long Fei's expression changed. The aura is completely different from that of the Demon King's demon beast. Without waiting for him to react, a ball of purple mist struck out from the dark forest like a lightning snake. The incomparably huge spirit demon, Chi, covered Long Fei in a low voice. Boom! Rumble! The air rumbled. Purple mist and illusions. Whoosh! A figure instantly rushed in front of Long Fei and kicked him continuously with both of his feet. It was extremely fast. It was so fast that Long Fei didn't have time to react. He could only cover his chest with both hands. Bang, bang, bang. A kick landed on Long Fei's arm, causing the purple fog to burst out. Long Fei was forced to retreat. His entire body was covered by the purple fog. One kick down. Long Fei retreated step by step and could only passively defend, unable to strike back. Bam! The power behind the last continuous kick was extremely strong, as both of his legs landed heavily on Long Fei's chest. At the same time, Long Fei flew away. Bam! He landed heavily on the ground. The purple-robed man revealed his true form, his mouth revealing a cold and contemptuous smile. He stared at Long Fei, who was crawling on the ground in the distance. Humans are trash that can't even withstand a single blow. A mere outer disciple of the ancient antiquity dares to act so atrociously here. You're courting death. With a sinister sound, the ancient regions stared at Long Fei, their eyes bursting with killing intent. Long Fei patted the dried-up leaves on his body and laughed. Body of a goblin tribe member? Your training is not bad. You actually managed to form a human form. It looks like, with the boss's radiance emitted from your body, you should be a demon emperor level beast, right? Long Fei was not afraid. He didn't give up just because of the chain of kicks. On the contrary, he was very excited. This was because the boss had appeared. Upon hearing the word beast, the ancient regions was about to spew out flames of anger. They stared at Long Fei and moved their right hands as they spread open their fingers. Boom! Rumble! A violet vortex rose up from the ground. A violet vortex. Thick energy instantly attacked the purple vortex from all directions, and the robes of the ancient regions rustled. You're courting death. Boom! He twisted his 5 fingers and made a grasping motion. A dense purple mist revolved around his palm, and he pushed at Long Fei. Walala! The gigantic tree instantly fell down, and all of its leaves flew around, like sharp blades striking towards Long Fei. This power. Strong performance. Sand and stones flew everywhere, and dead trees and leaves flew everywhere. Almost everything around them had become a weapon used by the ancient regions to kill people. All these things resounded in Long Fei's mind. He's dead for sure. The Demon Emperor's powerhouse. Transforming into a human demon beast, even a king swordsman powerhouse might not be able to withstand this kind of power. This brat. I'm tired of living. We originally had a chance at survival, but against these demon kings, we at least had the chance to register ourselves. Now that the human form of the Demon Emperor has appeared, will we still be able to survive? It's all that brat's fault. He's going to die soon. Not far away. Many outer court disciples discussed. At this moment, they quickly retreated. Right now, the further he was from this place, the safer it would be, because this place had already become a killing field. It was like a spell formation, and all living creatures inside would die. The pressure of the Demon Emperor was unable to approach him. The purple fog vortex released by the Demon Emperor turned an area of 300 meters into a killing array. Other than the Demon Emperor's real face, there was no other living being within it. Walala! Walala! The purple mist vortex was controlling more and more things, and everything around it seemed to spin. In the whirlpool, even a small stone could kill a person. Long Fei stood within the whirlpool, and his pupils slightly tightened. You're just like an ant under my feet right now. As long as I lift my foot, I can trample you to death, the ancient region sneered. Long Fei looked at his surroundings and said indifferently, "Oh." The ancient region said, "Look at you humans. Listen to the voices of your fellow senior brotheress. They all said that you harmed them, and they all said that you are a brainless madman. None of them stepped forward to help you. And yet, you human beings are so pitiful. Live, what qualifications does a cowardly human like you have to survive in this world?" He said coldly. Long Fei laughed faintly. No matter how weak humans are, no matter how selfish they are, it's still a matter for us humans. There's no need for you to speak any further nonsense here. If you're a demon, you wouldn't be hiding in the wilderness, talking about qualifications with me? Are you even worthy? Speaking of the pain of the ancient regions. Indeed, if the monster race was powerful, they wouldn't have to hide in this forest. The human body was not strong, and his cultivation was slow. However, The rate at which humans reproduce was trillions of times faster than demons. It was the same for the entire ancient world. Cluck, cluck, cluck. The ancient region's teeth chattered. He was clearly even angrier now. Both of his eyes looked down at Long Fei as he said, I can spare your life, but I want you to kneel down and say you humans are trash, trash. Long Fei smirked and said, You demi-humans are trash, trash. The muscles in the corner of the ancient region's eyes twitched, the rage in their eyes growing even more intense as they replied, Your mouth is formidable, right? Then let's see how strong your mouth is. He couldn't hold it in anymore. Blue veins popped out on the ancient region's foreheads as a surge of power entered the purple vortex. He laughed loudly and said, You pathetic human, go and die. Long Fei's pupils tightened, and he was about to exert his strength. But right at this moment, boom! With an explosive sound, a human figure landed heavily onto the ground, blocking in front of Long Fei. It was Zhao Dahan. Zhao Dahan roared. Who said no one will help? Me too. He suddenly landed on the ground and clenched his fists tightly. Bang, bang, bang. Explosions were heard in the air one after another. Long Fei was startled and said, OL3, why are you here? Didn't I tell you not to come out? Zhao Dahan laughed. Boss, I want to play too. The ancient regions laughed coldly. One more to die. Explode. The purple vortex moved, and all the energy in the killing array retreated. All the sand, rocks, branches, and leaves had turned into extremely sharp, hidden weapons, exploding on Zhao Dahan and Long Fei. Zhao Dahan looked at Long Fei and said, Boss, don't move. I'll deal with him. Killing array? Me too. Defensive formation. Mystical rock matrix. Bang! Zhao Dahan's body suddenly turned sinister. His body became larger and turned into a giant made of stone, blocking all of the attacks. Block all attacks. Moreover, he didn't move at all. It was like a sudden wave. The Demon Emperor Realm. How powerful was it? The Demon Emperor Realm. How powerful was it? Furthermore, the spirit demon emperor who had cultivated to the shape of a human had an even stronger cultivation, let alone the sword saint. Even the humans of the king swordsman rank would find it hard to defend against the power released by such a powerhouse. But Zhao Dahan blocked the attack. What level of cultivation was he at? It's only at the early stage of a mortal swordsman rank. Forcefully stopping all the weapons in the ancient battlefield slaughtering formation. Moreover, there were only countless scratches on his body, and none of them were able to break through his defenses. Too terrifying. Not to mention the ancient regions. Even Long Fei was shocked by Zhao Dahan's defenses. What the F *********? This defense is that powerful. Long Fei exclaimed. Long Quang laughed blandly. It seems that he has reached the 4th level of peak realm and can transform his body. Master, this is all thanks to your spirit blood. Your spirit blood really possesses too strong and too powerful of a strength. Originally, I had thought that his greatest talent in this life would only be Emperor Swordsman rank. But now, your spirit blood has completely changed his body. His current potential is simply limitless and powerful. Long Fei, my spirit blood. Sigh. There was some envy in Long Fei's eyes as he thought bitterly in his heart. Is my spirit blood only capable of becoming someone else? What about me? With the many spirit blood S in my body, how can my cultivation not break through a little faster? Could it be that my spirit blood is useless on his own? Holy ****T. This was not the first time. Long Fei gave many people to him, and those who got their hands on him had all improved by leaps and bounds. That kind of cultivation speed could only be described as riding on a rocket. But what about himself? It was as if his spirit blood was completely useless. There was not a single tree, nor any flowers, grass, or branches within 100 zhong of a flat piece of land. All the stones turned to powder. They were all blocked by Zhao Dahan's defensive power and were suppressed forcibly, as if they were the purple mist whirlpools in the ancient region. The reason why this was happening was not because the demon emperors of the ancient regions were not strong enough. It was Zhao Dehan's defense. His innate talent was a stone, which was precisely his defense. Earth defense. It was also because of this that Zhao Dehan was able to completely resist the power of the ancient region. It was not because Zhao Dehan was stronger than the ancient regions. If they were to compete in attack power, Zhao Dehan was not a match for the ancient regions. Looking at Zhao Dehan, who had returned to his original form, his hands suddenly moved. Boom! Rumble! Bang, bang, bang. Both of his hands moved together, but this time, the power was even more ferocious. The power of the purple mist surged out. It came from all directions. The face of the ancient regions turned ferocious, and two sharp horns sprouted from its forehead. Its eyes glowed with a purple light, and this time, its power was even greater. Zhao Dehan smiled faintly and said, "Come, use whatever power you have. Let's see what you can do." Bastard. It was the word beast again. The ancient regions was completely enraged as they roared in madness. The power from his palms rose up like purple pillars from the ground. The entire world seemed to be spinning. Long Fei frowned and said, "The boss has gone berserk." Zhao Dehan said excitedly, "It's good that you're going crazy. I also know what realm my defense has reached." Ever since he absorbed Long Fei, his cultivation speed was so fast that even he himself could not comprehend it. Right now, he did not even know how strong he was. He had just blocked the full might of the ancient region, but he hadn't used his full strength yet. If he were to go all out, then what level would his defense be at? Zhao Dehan really wanted to know. However, without waiting for Zhao Dehan to release all of his defensive power, suddenly, the ancient regions stared blankly at his palms. The power of the violet mist beneath his palm vanished. The immense power from earlier vanished in an instant, and the surroundings returned to its previous calm. It was as if nothing had happened. My strength, my power, why? The ancient regions didn't understand, and they twisted their palms again. Another dense mass of energy was released from his palm, and a purple mist curled up around it. However, in less than half a minute, the released energy suddenly disappeared, as if it had been transferred to another world. Who is it? The ancient regions roared, and the aura of the demon emperor on its body shook violently. Boom! The purple energy wave immediately flew out. A voice appeared, and with a light leap, it landed on the other side of Long Fei. Bailey Tianhai. He slightly smiled and said, "A mere purple centipede was able to cultivate to a human form and act so arrogantly? If I say that you are an animal, you have to admit it." The face of the Gu territory turned ashen. Not a single human knew that he had cultivated into a human. The ancient regions stared at Bailey Tianhai and asked, "Who are you?" Bailey Tianhai ruffled his long hair, cleared his throat, and said, "Listen carefully, I am that elegant, handsome, and intelligent Bailey Tianhai. You can call me Hai Ji, or the Sea God." Zhao Dehan asked, "Second brother, how did you know he was a centipede?" Long Fei was also curious. Bailey Tianhai smiled faintly and said, "With my 8 brains, forget about being a centipede. As long as I am willing, I would even know what kind of ancestor he is." Zhao Dehan scratched his head and said, "I also know what his ancestors were. They're also centipedes." Bailey Tianhai was slightly taken aback. He was acting tough and acting in the wrong direction, which made him feel a little awkward. However, still powerful. At least, Long Fei didn't know that the ancient regions was a centipede. In addition to calculating and thinking fast, there were also a lot of things that ordinary people's minds couldn't know. Since you know that I was transformed by a centipede, then I'll let you all experience my true form. The face of the Arceus region twisted, and his violet robe was ripped apart. An incomparably ferocious, gigantic centipede with a body 100 meters long appeared. The centipede's entire body was purple. A royal character appeared on his forehead, the Emperor of Centipedes. It was also in the realm of the Demon Emperor. Hundreds of feet moved about, eyes staring straight at Long Fei and the other two. He said, "All of you must die. All of you die." Zhao Dahan looked at Long Fei and said, "Boss, how do we fight?" Bailey Tianhai said, "After forcing out his real body, this guy's strength has at least doubled. And his defense, there doesn't seem to be any weak points." Even the 8 brain geniuses couldn't see through the Centipede Emperor's weakness. This meant that the Centipede Emperor had no weaknesses. Long Fei smirked and said, "You guys have all been acting tough before, now it's my turn, right? Since you've revealed your true form, that's better. Burst him." As soon as he finished, Long Fei did not want to waste his time and frowned. Level 5 Ancient Dragon Body, open. The aura on his body abruptly changed. A mere centipede actually dared to act tough in front of the Dragon Emperor. It was almost the same as courting death. Ancient Dragon Body of the 5th level, with Dragon Spirit Shadow in his body. Ancient Dragon Body of the 5th level, with Dragon Spirit Shadow in his body. He exploded forth with his strength. The dragon roared, and the dragon's might rippled. Long Fei seized the opportunity and leapt high into the air, smashing down heavily. Under the might of the dragon, the Centipede Emperor could not even move at all. It just lay there foolishly on the ground, trembling non-stop. His mind felt as if it was going to explode. Boom! Long Fei descended and stepped on the back of the Centipede Emperor. His leg was like a dragon's claw as it pressed down on the back of the Centipede Emperor. Crack! The hard shell of the Centipede Emperor immediately shattered. The Arceus region let out a blood-curdling screech as a mouthful of blood gushed out from its mouth. Long Fei stomped his feet. Crack! The body of the Centipede Emperor was instantly torn apart. It did not even have the chance to retaliate as it continued to scream miserably and twitch nonstop while spitting out blood. His body curled up and slowly turned back into his human form. His pupils dilated as he looked at Long Fei with incomparable terror and said, "Don't kill me. I beg you, don't kill me." A hole had already been opened in his abdomen, and as fresh blood gushed out from it, the blood on his head started to pour down like a torrential downpour. Long Fei smirked and said, "Don't kill you. Give me a reason not to kill you." The Arceus region replied, "I am willing to be a slave for the rest of my life." He wanted to live. He had an incomparable desire to live on. His cultivation had taken him thousands of years to cultivate. If he died, he would have nothing left. He did not want to die. Long Fei disdainfully said, "Do you think you are qualified to become a slave?" He had been crushed like this with just a single move. Was he even qualified to be a slave? What's the use of coming? The Arceus region tensed up, saying, I have some use for you. I'm a Demon Emperor, and I am Demon Emperor's only disciple. I have said something at the Demon Tower. As long as I say one word, all of the Demon King Demon Beast in the entire valley will leave the valley, and the Demon Emperors in the Demon Tower will absolutely not touch you. I'm very useful. Please don't kill me." Long Fei glanced at the depths of the valley and muttered, "There really is someone controlling these Demon King's sudden attacks." However, it didn't matter to him whether someone was controlling it or not. These things could not threaten him at all. Looking at the golden light flashing on the body of the ancient regions, he continued, "All of this is still useless to me. If I can easily crush you, then naturally I can overturn the entire monster tower as well. So, boss, how could he not explode? Released? It was completely not Long Fei's style." Thus, Long Fei wanted to make his move, but the strength beneath his feet increased. He looked at the ancient region and said, "Sorry, it's better if you just obediently explode." The ancient regions issued a blood-curdling scream. Just as Long Fei was about to reap his life, suddenly, Long Fei stopped. His gaze darkened as he stared at another spot. One of them was dressed in white. A middle-aged man in snow-white clothes walked out. He had an exquisite appearance, like a demon. It could be said, even those drop-dead, gorgeous beauties couldn't compare to this white-clothed man in front of her. It was Long Fei's first time seeing such a good-looking man who was like a fox, but he was very unhappy with men who were more handsome than him. When the white-clothed man appeared, the aura around him was completely wrong. Even Long Fei's level 5 ancient dragon body trembled slightly. Long Quang immediately said, "This guy's cultivation is a bit terrifying. He should be at the peak of that level in the mortal world." Demon Emperor? Long Fei tensed up. Long Quang Dao, probably. Oh, isn't that an even stronger and fiercer boss? Wow. Long Fei swallowed his saliva. He became even more excited, but what made him even more confused was that this fellow did not release any of his FA Li. Not a single bit of light from a boss. That was unreasonable. When the Arceus region saw the white-robed man, they immediately shouted out, "Master, save me!" The white-clothed man looked at the ancient region, and his gaze tensed up. He then looked at Long Fei and said lightly, "Little brother, can you give me some face and let him live? I guarantee that from today onwards, no demon beast will dare to stop you when you enter the immemorial Zephyr Mountain." He spoke softly. The aura was completely different. His aura was very calm, and within it was the aura of a king. This should be the aura of the powerhouse. Moreover, the white-clothed man appeared as if no one had seen him other than Long Fei, and Zhao Dahan, who were standing at the side, did not even look at the man in white. What was even more special was, the gazes of Bailey Tianhai and Zhao Dahan did not move one bit, nor did he move his body. Having noticed all of this, Long Fei's gaze tightened as he looked around with the corner of his eye. His mind was overwhelmed with shock as he realized that everything within 30 meters of him had stopped moving. Time is still. This power. Long Quang slightly said, "This guy is a bit stronger than I thought. He can actually control space. Right now you are completely in his domain." "Master, you have to be careful." Domain. It was like a special space. In this domain, the white-robed man was the controller. Anything in this space, he could make it use its soul flying in an instant. This was the power of a domain. The key was, Long Fei did not even know when he released this power and did not sense it at all. It could be seen how strong this guy was. He actually could not detect the power that was released by a Long Fei's level 5 dragon body. Demon Emperor's strength. Extraordinary. Seeing Long Fei's serious expression, the white-clothed man smiled faintly and said, "I wonder how little brother is going to consider." His tone was extremely calm. Long Fei retracted his aura, withdrew the power of his level 5 dragon body, and lifted his foot that was stepping on the wounds of the ancient regions. With a light voice, he said, "Since Demon Emperor has spoken, then I won't show any face if I don't comply." The white-robed man was surprised for a moment, but then he smiled. "Little brother is indeed not a mortal. My name is Bai Di. Can we be friends?" Long Fei asked. "You want to be friends?" The white-clothed man said, "That's right. I wonder if little brother thinks highly of me, and if he can become friend with me?" Long Fei could tell that he was from the Demon Emperor. The same. Demon Emperor also saw that Long Fei was not ordinary. He didn't have absolute confidence that I could defeat Long Fei. The aura emitted from Long Fei's body was too strong. It was the kind of power that demons were unable to resist, and the dragon roar just now made him guess that Long Fei was not someone from the mortal realm. Is the reincarnation of the divine space. People of this status could only curry favor with him. They could not afford to offend him. To be able to become friends with Long Fei, there might be many benefits in the future. Long Fei said indifferently, "I'm just making friends. I don't think there's a need for that, right?" He thought to himself, "With friends, how am I going to kill this boss?" But right at this moment, Bai Di flipped his right hand open and took out an ancient box engraved with runes and said, "If you are willing to be friends with me, this will be your gift to meet me." Once he took out the ancient box, Long Fei's eyes suddenly tensed up. Long Fei's eyes suddenly tensed up. It was instantly attracted over. Good stuff. Just looking at the runes carved on the ancient box, Long Fei felt that it was not an ordinary box. Bai Di said slightly, "Little brother indeed has good eyes. This was obtained from one of the spatial rifts I passed through, just that. This ancient box is too profound. Not to mention opening it. I don't even have a clue what the runes on it mean. If little brother likes it, then it will be right in front of my gift." He had obtained this item for over 100 years. He really didn't know what was inside. Rather than not being unable to comprehend it, it would be better to give it to Long Fei. As long as he could build a good relationship with Long Fei, maybe the benefits would be even greater in the future. Of course, the most important reason why Bai Di wanted to be friends with Long Fei was because he had taken a fancy to Long Fei's potential, so he guessed that Long Fei was someone from the divine space. Long Fei said, "How embarrassing is that?" As he said that, Long Fei had already walked to Bai Di's side and directly took the ancient box from Bai Di's hands. The idea moved, system scan. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the ancient box. Ding! System notification. Unable to open for now. Required Tianxian key. Huh? Long Fei was startled and said, "Sky Profound Key? What is a Sky Profound Key, Dragon Quang?" Long Fei asked Long Quang. "You should be clear about this." Long Quang Dao. Profound Sky Key? It was a key that was crafted using sky, profound stones. It was said that it could open any lock in the world, but this profound sky key has already disappeared for a long time in the divine space. Master, it can't be that this ancient box requires the profound sky key to open, right? Long Fei nodded and said, "In." Long Quang shook and said, "Master, a box that can only be opened with a sky profound key is definitely not some ordinary thing. Even in the divine space, there aren't many boxes that can be opened with a sky profound key. It's very possible that it's something from another world. He just said that he got it from a spatial crack. The runes on this box are also not the runes of the ancient world. This way, it's very likely to be an object from another realm. No wonder he couldn't see through it. Even the divine space's powerhouse would not be able to figure it out." Long Fei said, "So you're saying this is a good thing?" Long Quang Dao. "It's definitely a good thing. It was an object from the other realms that was stored in a box made of runes. It definitely wasn't an ordinary item. The outer regions were vast and endless. To the outsiders, the ancient world was only the size of a grain of sand. Then again, ancient world was only a normal plane of existence, not even an upper plane. If he could open this ancient box, then it would definitely not be simple." Long Fei kept the ancient box with the space ring and immediately put his hand on Bai Di's shoulder while chuckling. "Ha ha! I have decided to make this friend of yours. How could he not give face to such a good thing?" Moreover, Long Fei's current cultivation was not necessarily his match. In this kind of situation, to be able to give Bai Di face and make friends with him was not a bad choice. Was caught off guard by the sudden turn of events and laughed along. "I wonder what brother's name is?" Long Fei said, "My name is Long Fei." Bai Di said, "Long Fei, what a good name, huh? From today onwards, you are my friend. No demon beast in the ancient Lime Mountain range would dare to touch you." Moreover, Bai Di took out an order badge and said, "This is my Demon Emperor command plate. Take out this order badge. Other than me, all Demon Clan members will listen to your orders. No matter what difficulties we encounter, they will protect us with their lives." Long Fei took it and said, "Thank you, Brother Bai. It's just a pity I don't have anything for you." Gift. Long Fei doesn't have anything. The thing he had in the space ring was not a holy artifact, but he would not even give a hair to Bai Di, because Bai Di was just a friend and not a brother. There was still a huge gap between brothers and friends. Furthermore, Bai Di was in control of the entire mountain range. All the ores and spirit grasses were within his control. Bai Di said, "Bro, these words of yours are out of the ordinary." He did not expect Long Fei to have anything. What could an outer disciple of the ancient antiquity take out? What he had his eyes on was Long Fei's potential. Bai Di said, "I just hope that you won't forget me in the future." Long Fei said, "How is that possible? How could I forget you? No one will ever forget you. Don't worry, I will come often. Looking at Long Fei's crafty eyes, Bai Di felt that he had been tricked. He felt as if he had met a bandit. Bai Di said, "Welcome often. All right, my useless disciple is almost unable to hold on any longer. I won't disturb you any further, and the spirit demon king demon beast in the valley will immediately disappear. You all can rest assured to train here." Bai Di smiled faintly and carried the ancient region with one hand. His figure blurred and disappeared in the blink of an eye. And at this moment, the domain vanished. Bailey Tianhai's eyes lightly blurred as he looked at Long Fei in astonishment. Zhao Dahan said, "What's going on? Why do I feel like I'm stuck in a pincer?" Bailey Tianhai frowned and asked, "Big brother, is that a spatial domain technique?" His brain reacted extremely quickly. Long Fei nodded and said, Demon Emperor came just now." Demon Emperor? Zhao Dahan's pupils shrank rapidly as the aura on his body instantly exploded and became extremely thick. Long Fei said, "They have already left." Bailey Tianhai secretly clenched his fists and said in a low voice, "The power of the spatial domain. If they had wanted to kill him just now, he wouldn't even know how he died." When he encountered the power of the domain of power, Bailey Tianhai suddenly felt that he was still too weak. He was like a fish on a chopping board, dying in an instant. Long Fei detected Bailey Tianhai's abnormality and said slightly, "Don't be anxious. Demon Emperor has trained for at least 10,000 years. How old are we?" "There's plenty of time." Bailey Tianhai nodded and said, "I will work even harder." Zhao Dahan also foolishly said, "Me will also work hard to cultivate." Walala. Rumble. The footsteps from the forest were heading towards the valley. Just as Demon Emperor had said, all the demon beasts left the valley. Furthermore, they were leaving very quickly. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "It's safe now. Let's return to the cave to cultivate." "Master, why didn't you kill him? That brat." The Arceus region was deathly pale, and his abdomen was in intense pain. Numerous energies from his surroundings poured into his body. Bai Di said coldly, "Ignorant." The ancient regions trembled as they said, "Master, Bai Di said, "His cultivation is something even I am not able to win against. His strength is something even I am unable to see through. There is only one possibility for such a person." Bai Di's eyes looked at the sky and muttered, "The divine space came to the world of mortal world to train, and this kind of person is someone we cannot afford to offend." "Understood." Unwilling to give up, the Arceus region replied in a low voice, "I understand." In the dark, what happened just now was under the gaze of a pair of eyes. He transmitted his voice to the idea and said, "Our target's cultivation level has exceeded our expectations. Do you want to continue hunting?" Not long later, his idea received the order, "Continue to hunt." As the horde of beasts retreated from the valley, the demonic valley regained its calm once more. As the horde of beasts retreated from the valley, the demonic valley regained its calm once more. The peace now was completely different from yesterday's. This time, it was truly safe, as no other demon beast would invade. Not only that, even if they were to leave now, they would not encounter any demon beast. The Demon Emperor had already spoken. How could these spirit demon king level demon beasts dare to disobey? I really have to thank Junior Brother Long Fei. If not for him, I'm afraid we would have to run for our lives for the next 2 days. That's right. We don't know what method he used to chase these monster kings out. No matter what, we have to thank him. I didn't expect his strength to be comparable to the Demon Emperor's. Thank him, that he could prove that the demon beast was driven out by him. Maybe the demon beast was afraid of Senior Brother Zhong? Didn't Senior Brother Zhong also just kill a demon king? If you want to thank someone, you would have to thank Senior Brother Zhong. Exactly. So what if I am grateful? As someone who scored negative, what qualifications does he have to receive our gratitude? You're right, what does he Long Fei count as? Some thanked him, while others disdained him. Zhongqi was one of those who were extremely disdainful. He did not know what had happened to Long Fei, but he was sure that the Demon King's retreat had nothing to do with Long Fei. At least, he did not think that Long Fei was a match for the Spirit Demon Emperor. At this moment, buzz! A voice suddenly rang out, exploding within the valley. Sword Immortal, score plus 100 points. Suddenly, a sound was heard. All the outer disciples in the valley were shocked. When they heard that the Sword Immortal had increased his score, they were all stunned. Increase in score? What do you mean? Why did the Sword Immortal senior brother increase his score? What did he do? I didn't even see him. How did he increase his score? 100 valuation points. This number can directly pass the first round of the examination. Sword Immortal is indeed worthy of being called the #1 expert in the outer sect. Sword Immortal was ranked #1 among the 10 strongest experts in the outer sect, and he was a lone wolf. Many people were extremely envious of the sudden increase in 100 points. The voice sounded once more. Zhongqi, score plus 100 points. As soon as he finished, Zhongqi, who was originally frowning, immediately revealed a complacent smile. His body slightly straightened, revealing a look of superiority. Ha! Senior Brother Zhong is mighty. Senior Brother Zhong is awesome. 100 points, Senior Brother Zhong. This is the pace to enter the second round of the examination. Ha! Senior Brother Zhong is too powerful. The group of minions beside Zhongqi continuously praised him. Zhongqi was also extremely proud as he said, "Brothers, don't worry. When I become an inner disciple, you will all be able to shine." Ha! The group of lackeys immediately said in unison, "Thank you, Senior Brother Zhong." Zhongqi nodded in satisfaction. Lu Yifeng, score plus 100 points. Cheng Zhan, score plus 100 points. The sound echoed continuously. The 10 or so disciples all received 100 valuation points. When Zhongqi heard these names, other than the fact that the first Sword Immortal posed a threat to him, no one else was his match. If it was the third round, defeating them wouldn't be a problem at all. Why is Long Fei's name not here? If his score is negative, how can he score? Ha! That's right. I've never seen anyone with a negative score before. He's the first one. He's here to be funny. Zhongqi also sneered and said disdainfully, "A person who has a negative score wants to increase it? He has already been eliminated early." At this time, the voice continued. Zhao Dehan, score plus 1,000 points. Bailey Tianhai, score plus 10,000 points. As the two voices sounded out, the entire valley fell silent. Everyone's mouth was wide open in shock. What did they do? Why should I? How did they get 1,000 points? I refuse to accept this. They didn't do anything. How could they have so many points? They were all puzzled. Even Bailey Tianhai and Zhao Dehan were confused. They looked at Long Fei and asked, "Big brother, did you get it wrong?" Bailey Tianhai said, "Just now, the ones who increased the score should be the people who hunted the demon beast. Both I and Big Sis did not kill a single demon beast, so why did we increase by 1,000 points? It shouldn't be a mistake. If it was a mistake, then it shouldn't be a mistake on both sides. I think it might be because of the two of you helping me." Long Fei wasn't sure either. Bailey Tianhai asked, "Is that so?" Zhao Dehan said, "It's starting again." The voice came again. Long Fei thought, "This should be my additional points, right? If I balance the score according to the demon beast hunted, I should have a few thousand points, right? If you add another demon emperor, how many points would that be? Then count in the retreat of these demon kings." Long Fei was a little excited. You should be able to get at least tens of thousands of points, right? According to his calculations, it was indeed. His 100,000 points were all considered low. However, Long Fei, score plus 10 points. With that said, Long Fei was stunned. Only adding 10 points? Damn, who the hell is this? Is there something wrong with my brain? How come it's only 10? Boss killed so many demon beasts. If it wasn't for the fact that Boss is surrounded by the ravages of demon beast, how come you're only at this stage? F***CK. This is too unfair. Zhao Dahan and Bailey Tianhai said indignantly. No matter how you looked at it, it shouldn't be just 10 points. It's not fair. Ha ha, ha ha, 10 more points. Not far away. Zhongqi walked out and laughed wildly. Did you injure a single hair on the demon beast? Otherwise, how could you increase it by 10 points? Ha ha. Senior brother Zhong, on the way here, he did not get a good score, but now that he has gained 10 points, it just so happens that it's offset. He still has 0 points. Ha ha. You were jumping up and down just now? How many points can I get? It was only 10 points. Ha ha. I'm dying of laughter. Does he look like he's raising his score by a lot? Boy, don't you despair? What a waste of time, huh? Many people mocked. Zhao Dahan stared at Zhongqi in displeasure. He clenched his fists tightly, and his joints popped out. He glared at Zhongqi and said ruthlessly, "You F***king want to give this daddy a try again?" Boom! His arms instantly turned into rocks, and he took a heavy step forward. Boom! The ground shook, and a footprint 5 centimeters thick appeared. Zhongqi laughed coldly and said, "I'm just laughing. What's wrong? Trash can't make people laugh. Brothers, laugh for them." Ha ha! Zhao Dahan couldn't help but rush forward. Zhao Dahan's temper was bad. Zhao Dahan's temper was bad. Normally, it was impossible for people to tell when they were stupid. He wouldn't care if they were laughing at him or beating him up, but they shouldn't touch his bottom line. His previous baseline was Bailey Tianhai. No one could speak ill of Bailey Tianhai. It was different now. There was Long Fei. Seeing that someone was ridiculing Long Fei, he could not tolerate it. His body charged forward. The ground instantly shook, and the scene was as if it was a heavy tank. With each step he took, he created a deep footprint as he charged towards Zhongqi. Long Fei wanted to stop him, but it was already too late. Zhongqi's lips curved up as he sneered. "You're courting death." He lowered his body, and a sharp sword appeared in his hand. The sword images moved. Zhongqi's figure changed. Thousand Shadow Sword. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk did not care at all. Even the Spirit Demon Emperor was not able to harm him. A mere Zhongqi. He did not put them in his eyes. With a heavy leap. Overlord Suppression. Boom! His body instantly became extremely heavy, as though a mountain was crushing down. The strong wind raged. Zhongqi's eyes turned sinister as he bellowed. Thousand Shadow Kill. Walala. The sword intent danced crazily on Zhao Dahan's body like a wind blade, but Zhao Dahan seemed to not feel any pain from every move. There was not a single cut on his body. On the other hand, when Zhongqi felt the gigantic force descending from the sky, his expression darkened and his figure moved, instantly dodging the attack. Rumble. The ground shook, and a huge pit appeared. The entire pit was cracked open. If he was to be sat on right now, he would be dead or even crippled. Zhongqi's face changed. Just as he was about to dodge Zhao Dahan's attack, Bailey Tianhai's figure moved, and had already calculated the path Zhongqi would take. The longsword moved. "Give me your life." It directly pierced towards Zhongqi's throat. Last time in South Heaven Gate, both he and Zhao Dahan were harmed by Zhongqi. He still vividly remembered that scene. His points were stolen, and his body was heavily injured. He did not explain in detail to Long Fei, because this was his enmity. He wanted to report it himself. The speed of a sword locking down on one's throat was extremely fast. Zhongqi's palm oozed a cold sweat. His body had not even landed, but a sword attack had already arrived. He definitely could not dodge it. Instantly, Zhongqi immediately grabbed Hu Liehua, who was beside him, and gave him a violent push. Bailey Tianhai's pupils became tight. He twisted his body. With a turn, the sword went around Hu Liehua and pierced towards Zhongqi. However, just because of this little bit of time, Zhongqi had time to react. His feet lightly tapped on the ground, and he bounced off once again. It landed 10 zhang away. Zhongqi's eyes became gloomy. "You too, scum." Zhao Dahan jumped up from the deep pit and sneered. "Who's the scum?" Bailey Tianhai said, "I have sworn that I will avenge the South Heaven Gate 10 times over." Zhongqi contemptuously said. With just you, the power on Bailey Tianhai's body became stronger again, and he wanted to attack again. However, at this moment, a deep voice sounded. Zhao Dehan, score is 0. Bailey Tianhai, score is 0. As the two voices fell, everyone was stunned. Zhongqi started laughing loudly. Ha ha, ha ha. With your score clear to 0, you two trash failed the first stage. Huh? You want to kill your father? Just the two of you. There's still a long way to go. Zhao Dehan's eyes darkened. He looked at Bailey Tianhai and bellowed, Ah! No matter what. Could not bear to see Zhongqi so pleased with himself. However, Long Fei said in a deep voice, Foolish, stop. It was obvious that because Zhao had shouted for the first move, the points had been cleared. This meant that there was no need to engage in a private duel. Whoever made the first move would be assessed as having 0 points. And that was their score. If they hadn't, they would have been eliminated immediately. Zhao Dehan was stopped by Long Fei. Bailey Tianhai was even more furious than Zhao Dehan, but when he saw Long Fei, he managed to suppress the anger on his body. He also knew that if they were to make a move again, this exam would most likely end up with no chance at all. It didn't matter if he failed the assessment, but the points that they had registered for the examination were all given to them by Long Fei, so it wouldn't be good if their boss was implicated. Zhongqi saw that Zhao Dehan and Bailey Tianhai had stopped and was extremely pleased. Come, hit me. It was 0 points just now. If you make a move now, you will be directly eliminated. Ah, aren't you all arrogant? Didn't you want to take revenge on me and kill me? Come on, come and kill me. Ha ha ha. He was incomparably arrogant and proud. Zhao Dehan clenched his teeth so hard that his teeth cracked. Bailey Tianhai was the same. His eyes stared straight at Zhongqi, wishing that he could smack Zhongqi's feces out of his mouth. Long Fei walked forward, smiled lightly, and said, Last time you didn't eat enough, sh*t. Don't worry, I'll let you eat enough. Zhongqi's expression immediately changed. He stared furiously at Long Fei and said, Long Fei. Thinking about how Task Palace stuffed a pile of sh*t into his mouth, his stomach started to churn. From yesterday until now, he felt like vomiting when he saw what he ate. Anger raged. Long Fei laughed. What are you calling your father for? Do you want your father to feed you feces? You? Zhongqi's eyeballs were about to pop out of their sockets. Long Fei, this is the time of your death. Just you wait. Long Fei replied, Don't worry, I've been waiting for this entire time. Anywhere. If you touch me now, I'll kill you now. Zhongqi sneered and said, I am not as foolish as your two brothers. I will make my move under the watch of the elders. You won't live long. Finished. Zhongqi flung his sleeves and shouted, Let's go. The group of minions quickly followed Zhongqi and disappeared into the forest. Zhao Dehan and Bailey Tianhai looked at Long Fei. Long Fei said lightly, What happened to the South Heaven Gate? He only knew that Zhongqi had stolen their contribution points token and injured them, and did not know the cruel scene. Bailey Tianhai said, Big brother, can you leave his life to me? Long Fei let out a light breath and said, Your cultivations have indeed become stronger, but it is clear that Zhongqi's cultivation is stronger than yours by a level. Just now, although you guys seem to have the upper hand, you actually ended up falling into his gloves. He knows the rules of this examination very well. Bailey Tianhai said, I will pay attention next time. I will definitely take his life. Long Fei nodded his head and said, Okay, if you want to solve it yourself, then do it yourself. He didn't say anything more. Long Fei had originally wanted Demon Emperor to get a few Demon Beasts and beat him to death. This way, his points would not be deducted. But looking at the expression in Bailey Tianhai's eyes, he knew that if he didn't kill Zhongqi now, that anger in Bailey Tianhai's heart would not be quelled. At night, the valley was quiet. A black shadow lightly moved and disappeared in the blink of an eye. In the next moment, he landed by the side of Long Fei's cave. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.